compromise your energy. Darling, let your spirit be free. Don't give up, keep on pushing through. Now is the time, it's all up to you. Alchemize your energy, my friend. Let your spirit be free. Don't give up, keep on pushing through. Now is the time, it's all up to you. No matter the storm, but over tragedy. No matter the storm, but over tragedy. No matter the storm, we will always take flight. Keep on pushing through the darkness of night. There's no limit, let's reach for the sky. Shine so bright, from darkness to light.
All right, so I want to get the definition of a practical, okay? More likely to succeed or be effective in real circumstances, feasible. So my argument is, in this presentation, I'm going to provide the information that Ifa, without a doubt, as a way of living and the practices of our ancient ancestors, is the most practical way of society. The Torah and Ifa are actually connected, but Ifa is a more practical and more ancient, more older than the Torah. The Torah is based upon man's interpretation of spirituality. The thing that separates Ifa from religion is Odu. Odu are patterns. These patterns are developed based upon mathematical foundation of universal Scientology. We get Ifa directly from the universe, directly from God. Man gets religion based on interpretation of philosophy based on what God is. In Ifa, we don't philosophize what God is. Ifa is the natural scientific Scientology of life, the natural mathematics born out of life itself. We seek to be in harmony with what God created. Religion gives man's interpretation based on what God is saying, its rituals, values, and beliefs based on motives. Dr. Henry Clark said that religion is the handmaiden of conquerors. Ifa is the root of all religions: Buddhism, Abrahamic, Hinduism, Taoism, and also the Torah is actually under the umbrella of Ifa. When we talk about the Odu Ifa, there is an actual Odu called Torah, a Torah Pan. So that is, by contrast, the Torah is more focused on communal laws and obligations. Ifa is highly personalized and about the individual. That's why I believe it's more important for society, because it talks about the individual's plight, the individual's health, and then the microcosm versus the macrocosm, and how everything affects the whole. Every small thing affects itself, each other. The Torah, by contrast, is more about communal laws and the community obligation. I'm not saying that the Torah is not as important, but I would say that, not as practical, but when you have individuals, you have to sustain for differences in individual personalities and mental health, things like that. So.
Okay, you're done because you have 30 more seconds. You're good, right?
Yep, that's it.
All right, great. All right, thank you so much for that. Now, if you will take your screen down, and we will let our brother Devian come in and do his 3-minute opening. Devian, same thing with you, brother. When I leave the stage, that's when your time will begin. When you see me appear, you will know you have 1 minute to go with your opening, okay?
No, I got you.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, so yeah, definitely. Share your screen. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and let me know when to kick me off, and I'll come back on.
Okay. I gotta do that time. All right, so can you see the screen? Can you see it?
Okay, yes, I see your screen, and when I go out, I'm just gonna start the time over. I'll go out, and your time will start. Okay.
All right. So the topic is the Torah versus Ifa, which is better or practical for society. But I'm coming from the standpoint of our people, quote unquote, of Black Americans. That's what I'm coming from. Right. The sister said that Ifa is the basis of all religions and even the Torah, which is false, because keeping the Torah is not a religion. We do not practice Judaism. Israelites do not practice Judaism, and we do not listen to rabbis. So there is no correlation. The opening, the Torah is superior to the structuring of our people's minds through the use of psychology, right? You can't build a society unless you build up the mind of the people who is in it. Also effective in governing a nation and their way of life. It is a moral code, how to interact with one another in civil interactions. Also court, right? Jobs. We also have an economy, right? Prohibits the practices of so-called African spirituality systems, which is witchcraft, as Ifa, which they practice divination and ancestor worship, and also comes from Ifa is voodoo and Santeria, which is also known as witchcraft. Many nations around the world venerate their gods through carved images, as well as does Ifa. They have over 400 Orishas, which is who they pray to for guidance, who is nothing but deity ancestors, right? African spirituality is actually animism, the worship of nature, which the Torah prohibits, right? Many nations around the world practice animism. As you can see, that's why she said Ifa is similar to other religions. Well, obviously, not the Torah, because the Torah is a book of psychology and the heritage of the children of Jacob, not a religion. I'm going to show that the Torah improves the mental capacity, raises the intelligence and skill of the mind, making it more practical for society in order for the society to be ran. So with that, I'm in there with my closing.
Okay, you have 1 more minute, you know. You good?
No, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. All right, great. Thank you both of you for that concise intro. And now we can get right into your rounds. Now you will be having your first round and your second round, 15 minutes. Remember, just to refresh your memories. DJ Genesis, you're going first. You're going to go into whatever you want to present in your first round. Since I know this is your first time, you will have 15 minutes. I'm going to remove myself when your time starts. I'm going to show it back up on the screen when you were already used up your 14. So you'll know you have a minute remaining. If you want to relinquish your time before I show up, you can definitely say, I'm done. Keep in mind that you should try to use your whole 15 minutes. But if you are done, you're done. And if you so let me know, and I'll come back onto the stage and start the brother's time up. Do you have any questions before you get started with your first round?
No.
Okay, great. So I'm going to remove myself when you screen share, do whatever you need to do. And by the way, if you need to screen share, I'm still right here. I don't have to come back onto the stage. You know what I'm saying? But your time will start when you let me know. I'll remove myself from the stage and start your time, the clock.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
Okay, time starts now.
All right. Do you see the screen? Hold on.
Okay. Well, you don't have to. Did you want to screen share something?
Yes, I do want to screen share.
Okay, great. There is this your screen share?
Yes. Yep.
You know you used this already once, right? Or you didn't?
I did not.
Okay, great. That's yours. Okay, I'm gonna start your time right now when I leave the stage. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, time
All right,
starts.
so go ahead. Most Hebrew Israelites believe that they are the ones who were taken from the Atlantic slave trade from West Africa into America, Caribbean, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, South America, North America. The practice in West Africa at the time of this transatlantic slave trade was Ifa, Afa, and various other nature-based cosmological traditions. Not only were they connected, but very much a part of society in those parts of Africa, as well as they are currently being practiced in the Caribbean, Puerto Rico, North America, and South America. The Black Hebrew Israelite movement did not really start in America until the 1880s, when a young man started the movement by the name of Frank Cherry, who co-founded a congregation in Chattanooga, Tennessee. The practice of Ifa actually helped the slaves be freed in Haiti. Okay. Isheshe. The original tradition and tradition of Ifa is Isheshe, and it is the traditions of antiquity. Now, when we talk about what is more practical for society, well, why not go to the root of your actual truth? Go back to your roots. You know, this is where this is our nature is the root. You know, it refers to Ishe meaning the source of origin, and Ishe meaning practice, our practice, our original ways of living, the tradition of antiquity, the original tradition. It encompasses the beliefs and customs and practices that have been passed down through generations, including worship of the Orisha, ancestral veneration, and the use of divination systems such as Ifa. Why are the ancestors significant in the Ifa religion? Ancestors are essential in Ifa because they serve as a spiritual guide and protectors and source of wisdom for the living. They act as intermediaries between human and spiritual realms, linking past, present, and future generations. We already venerate our ancestors. When we talk about Moses, we talked about Martin Luther King, and then some people believe in Jesus and different ancestors. If that person is not existing anymore, they are considered an ancestor. And we venerate ancestors without knowing every day, all day. But we try to separate ourselves by saying, oh, these people worship the ancestors. No, we venerate, we understand the importance of our tie to our ancestors. Honoring and communicating with the ancestors is not just a matter of respect for tradition, but essential spiritual practice that it provides wisdom, guidance, and support in the lives of the descendants. And we are the descendants of our ancestors. Bringing up this practice is very important in society. Why would we say that? Is because if we know where we come from, we know where we're going. Understanding our connection to our ancestors is very important in society. And again, like I said, if we're talking about what's more practical, yes, knowing where we come from, understanding our bloodline, understanding grandma and big mama and people like that have passed on, and giving them respect, and keeping their memory, and not just forgetting them once we throw them into a nursing home and they pass on and we just let their memories go. If that is not something that we should practice within society, I don't understand what kind of society we're trying to live in. Our ancient ancestors understood the macrocosm and the microcosm. Banneker's religious and spiritual outlook incorporated a blend of Israelite naturalistic mystical elements and mystical elements. His almanacs, which included not just scientific data, but also philosophical meditations and astrological information, reflected a holistic worldview similar to that found in African traditions, where science, spirituality, and nature are all interconnected. Some of his recorded dreams and symbolic references to shapes and cosmological phenomena have been speculated to have roots in African spiritual knowledge, potentially influenced by ancestral traditions passed down through family lineage. So again, these things are Ifa. That is what Ifa is understanding where you come from, understanding the ancestors, understanding that everything in this universe is all connected. So when our ancestors are switch from this energy life form, and then their energy passes on to the next life form, it doesn't just die. And so understanding that and having a connection to our ancestors was very important. Now, Ifa is a tradition not only of ancestor understanding, but also of mathematic and scientific. It's a scientific spirituality, and it explains, since humans are the microcosm of the macrocosm, which is the supreme being, we too are made up of various divine phenomena. These divine phenomena are both spiritual aspects of our mind and physical aspects of the organs of our body. We believe in a complex spiritual system centered around Irumala, the deed of wisdom, knowledge, and divination, the use of Odu Ifa, the sacred corpus of verses and divinatory patterns that guide practitioners in understanding the will of the divine. The religion, which originates from the Yoruba people of West Africa, and also actually it spans throughout Africa, because divination is very known in all natural traditions. All natural traditions have some form of divination, including the Torah. Okay, focuses on the Ori. So Ifa, the Odu Ifa, is a collection of oral scriptures containing wisdom, ethical guidelines, and teachings, Akashic records in Hindu, Yin Yang and Taoism. All ancient practices, including Torah, have a form of divination. It focuses on ethical living, emphasizes wisdom, patience, and harmonious living. Rituals and practices, sacrifices, and offerings are performed to seek guidance, create balance, and promote wellness. Ifa structure is the macrocosm affects the microcosm. So the universe, everything that happens to you is happening within the universe, on the earth, etc. We are connected. There is no separation. Basically, the Odu is the womb. The Odu is what we are inside. This is the actual cosmic mother. The word Orisha, Ifa and Ori. The word Orisha is related to several other Yoruba words, and it's speaking of the head. When we talk about the head, the Torah has a complex concepts of Orisha and Ori, and their closest parallels are in the roles of angels, Malachim, and the soul, Neshama. Just as the Orisha act as mediators between Olodumare and humans, each governing aspect of nature and human life, angels serve as God's messengers, each with specific responsibilities like guidance, protection, or delivering divine messaging. Ifa's concept of the macrocosm versus microcosm reflects the belief that the entire universe is mirrored within the individual human being, microcosm, emphasizing the interconnectedness of all creation. This principle suggests that every element of the cosmos, including their reaches, natural forces, and spiritual energies, exists within the human being in a smaller, individualized form. For example, just as the universe has a distinct forces that govern different aspects of existence, ergo Ogun representing strength, Oshun representing love, these same forces are present within the individual's character, emotions, and destiny. The human being, through their Ori inner head or spiritual essence, is seen as a reflection of the divine order and maintaining alignment and balance within oneself to ensure harmony with the broader universe. This concept underscores the idea that by understanding and harmonizing the inner self, one can impact and align with the outer world, making the macrocosm principle a foundational framework for achieving spiritual balance and self-realization. This is the foundation of Ifa, and it affects the spirit, the community, your mental health, physical, and environment. Hold on. I did want to go into the word Orisha. It's related to several other Yoruba words. Ori means Ori is your conscience, your head. Sha is selector. So when you're really talking about Orisha, you're not talking about, you think that you're talking about like these creatures or beings or whatever, something outside of yourself. But all the Orisha is basically you. It's basically your body, your head. It represents everything within you and your mind. and then it actually connects to the body in different ways. The closest thing I would say in Torah is the Harishonim, the Sarim Harishonim in Daniel 10 verses 13, in Exodus 19 verses 6. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests, Kahonim, and as a set apart, consecrated, holy nation set aside for a righteous purpose, as example to all. These are the words which thou hast speak unto the children of Israel. So in Ifa, like, we are not just only considered like individual, like we only have a priesthood and this and the other. Everybody has a different aspect of a Orisha that governs them, and it breaks down into society and makes up the entire society. So some person might have a Orisha that's more of Oshun, so they might be responsible for relationships in the community. Some person might be more of a Orisha of Oya, and she might be of the marketplace in the community. Some person might have an Orisha of Ogun. They're more of like the protectors and like the police of the community. So we believe that everyone is born with an Orisha, and everybody has a specific a destiny on this earth, and that the Orisha that you have on your head, your actual consciousness, your Ori Sha, your consciousness holder, it determines your destiny, and that Orisha is with you throughout your life, and it determines like aspects of your personality, and it determines things like taboos for that individual person that the person should not take part in, foods they should not eat, because you could say, oh well, everybody shouldn't eat fish. Well, guess what? Some people should eat fish, some people shouldn't. Some people should eat beef, some people shouldn't eat beef. Everybody has a different diet based on like who they are, what climate they're in, what Orisha owns their head. One person might have a taboo of not ever eating eggs for the rest of their life when they actually get initiated. Some people might have a taboo of never eating goat or chicken. So based on their Orisha, that determines like the actual taboos within their life. Certain colors they probably shouldn't wear because it brings about a certain thing. So the Ori, it stands over, rules, and guides and controls a person's actions, right? So when you talk about Orisha, these are not, like I said, like just like some kind of like I don't know, when he talks about witchcraft and this, that, the other, I mean, it's really a scientific system. So Ifa and mental health and counseling. So in Ifa, the Odu Ifa provides a sophisticated framework for understanding and addressing mental health from a holistic perspective. Through divination, rituals, counseling, and spiritual practices, Ifa priests aim to restore balance and harmony between the mind, spirit, and environment, allowing for comprehensive mental and emotional healing. This approach integrates spiritual insight with practical guidance, making the Odu Ifa a powerful tool for managing mental health challenge in a culturally relevant and spiritual meaningful way. Now, I'm not sure how it goes in the Torah. Like you probably, if you're having a problem, you read the Bible, and then I guess you feel mentally fulfilled. Well, how it's broken down in the society within Ifa is that you have a certain priest that you go to, you get consultation on a regular basis, and then when you're going through certain issues, that Babalao counsels you throughout your life, and then as you become a priest yourself, then you're able to actually counsel yourself. So it's a growth series thing that you basically into priesthood. Some people decide to be priests, some people just decide to continue to be a client. In Ifa, the Babalao and the Olarisha are the doctors. We are the mental health practitioners. We are the doctors. Certain Olarisha are actually more prone towards mental health ability, counseling people. Some Olarisha or Babalaos are more prone to counseling from using herbs and things like that. Some are more into like being almost like a doctor. Some are more based on like more spiritual aspects. So all the different the priests make up different layers of society and what a person might need to actually make them be a better person. And so if I'm a priest that's more inclined to just divination and telling you like, okay, this is what you need to look out for, I'll send you to another priest in the community, Olarisha, that might be more prone or inclined into herbs and medicine because they have that particular Orisha on their head. So they might be more of Osain. So I might be more divination. I send you to Osain because it came out that you're sick or that you need some kind of like, help from like a herbal standpoint. And I would send you to that priest. Then that priest would they would do their divination and find out, okay, well, this, or based on the Odu that you come with, if you say this is the Odu that came out, they'll say, okay, well, if you have stomach problems, then you should take this herb. So it's a combination of it's a holistic approach. So it's almost like going to the doctor and you go to your general practitioner and then you go to a specialist once they find out what's wrong with you. So you go to the emergency room. The Babalao, I would say, is the emergency room doctor, right? He does the reading, and then, okay, well, it looks like you need to go to a specialist because your stomach you need to get the whatever. And then he gives you a prescription. You take that prescription off to the stomach doctor.
Time.
So that's how it works.
Thank you so much, Genesis. Thank you very much for that first round. And just as you see how it works, Genesis, when I show back up, just know start winding down. You have a minute left. So you did great. Thank you. And now, Brother Devian, when you are ready, just share your screen. Same thing as you know. When I remove myself, you let me know when you're ready to go. I'll remove myself, and that's when your time begins. Then when I show back up, you have a minute left. So let me know when you're, well, okay. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, time begins now.
All right. I don't know why the sister keeps saying that Ephah is similar to the Torah, which is not. The Torah strictly prohibits ancestor worship, which the Orishas, which I'll get to later in the presentation, are actually deified ancestors, right? So going back to the Torah, right, I'm going to show that it raises the intelligence, and which makes it more practical for society. When I say it raises intelligence, the mental capacity, ideas, inventions, inventiveness. So I'm going to continue. Psychology. The Torah is a book of psychology to improve the mind or thinking patterns of an individual for productivity, which is mathematics, geometry, higher conceptions of thought, right? Chashab, which also means to think. To think. The study of the mind or the spirit, which is the rawak. Now, how can the worship of nature or physical things, right? How can that improve the mind or the spirit with something that you cannot see? The Torah is represented as wisdom or kakama, as well as teaching or instruction, which comes from Yahweh, which means to teach or to direct or to instruct. The Torah also represents water, which is a sense of refreshness or reflection or contemplation. That's why it says we shall teach it to our children. Deuteronomy 6, verse 4 through 9. I'm not going to read all of them. I'm going to get to the important parts. It says, "A hero Israel, Yahweh our God, Yahweh is one. You shall love Yahweh your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might, or your resources, or your diligence." Which said, if you seek me with all your mind, your heart, and your soul, you will find me. And she said, also said that Ephah is practiced in West Africa and in the Caribbean, and right, which came voodoo and Santeria came from it. Now, but it says that our people are spread to the four corners of the earth, and that we lost our heritage while we're in the land of our captivity. That's why it says, in the land of your captivity, you will remember yourselves or bethink yourselves. Now, it's right. It says, you shall teach, or Yahweh, which means to teach or to instruct or to direct them diligently to your children, and you shall talk of them while you sit in your home, when you walk in the way, and when you lie down, and when you arise. Now, there's this concept in the Torah of the temple, which represents you as an individual, but it also represents Israel as a whole. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, or a sign, which is a miracle or a wonder, on your hand, which is your yad, which means your work or your practice or your praise, and they shall be frontlets or tatafat between your eyes, which is conspicuous or to stand out or to be contemplated upon. You shall write them on the doorpost of your house and upon your gates. The katab means to write a doorpost, which also means to like stick out or be conspicuous of your house, which this word here, bayat, which means the temple, but it also means within, or the mind or the spirit, or upon your gates, which is the sha'ar, which means your thoughts, or it also means a gate, right? So when it says there was a gate for all the tribes of Israel in 4 sections, the gate, it also means your thoughts. So the Torah is not one dimensional, right? This is just a recap on what I just went through. Sha'ar, which also means your thoughts or your gates. The concept of building the mind, which is knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Yata'ah, which means knowledge or accumulation of facts or information. Hakama, which is wisdom, to be skillful or wise-hearted, intelligent, to use the mind in order to build. Bayan, to build. Mental separation, discernment, skillful, to teach or to think. Right? When it says we have been made in their image, it means to use knowledge, wisdom, and understanding in order to create. Brain lateralization is the process by which different areas of the brain are specialized to perform different functions, such as language, memory, and motor control, which, as you can see, is brain lateralization. You have the left brain and right brain. Left brain is usually more logistics or problem solving. The right side is more artistic, which is creativity, and things of that nature. Intuition, art. The Torah always deals with the mind of the spirit and the fruit that it bears. There are many enigmas and allegories throughout the Torah that pertain to the growth of the man or the nation of Israel. Now, back to what I was saying, our people's minds have to be right in order to build a society. So if our people's minds aren't right, as if we came out of Egypt from a Matzarayan, which means a strait or trouble or affliction, that's why I say we're going to a land flowing with milk and honey, which is kalab, and dabash, which means healing and sustenance, or the best part or the choice part. Right, which is also knowledge, wisdom, and understanding when you store it up as rubies and jewels. Psalms 119, verse 18. Uncover my eyes that I shall look at the hidden things, the philea, from your Torah. The hidden things. The hidden things are the miracles of the Torah, the ability to wage war with strategy and strengthen the functions of the mind. That's why it also says we are to teach them to our children, that we have a continuing growing society, right? And you also have the lobes of the brain, which is the functions of the brain, but which also be the mind or the spirit. You got the frontal lobe with problem solving, motivation, judgment, decision making, social behavior, personality, memory. This is all the Torah. This is psychology. The occipital lobe, which is visual, memory, auditory, which is hearing, perception, frequency, parietal lobe, which is awareness from like touch, memory, like muscle memory. We're gonna continue on. The lobes of the brain, or the functions of the mind. To build the temple man, inward man, the heads about mind. As you can see here, there's Ezekiel's temple, there's a tabernacle, and then there's Solomon's temple. But they all represent you as an individual, but actually also the whole of the nation of Israel. And then also, remember, I said the gates. This is your head, and also you as like the laying down man. It represents you, the renewal of man, or the renewal of the mind or the spirit. That has nothing to do with ancestor worship. We're not worshiping Moses. We're not worshiping David. We're not doing none of that. Because when they inquire of the Orishas, they don't pray to Olodumare. They pray to the Orishas, which is over 400 different gods that they deified of ancestors, which is forbidden in the Torah, which is called familiar spirits and conjuring. But we're gonna get to it. Is Exodus 25 verse 8 and 9. And they shall make a sanctuary or Kodash, and I will dwell in their midst, according to all that I show you. The pattern, which is the bond of the tabernacle of the Mashakan, and the pattern, the bond, and all its vessels, the Kaleh, so shall you do. The bond, which right, this word the bond, which also comes from bond, which means to build or a builder, but it also means like a son or like children, right? But it still means to build or like to grow. Form, structure, skillful, reason, build, intelligence, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So when it's talking about building the sanctuary, it's talking about building up the mind or the heads about mind. The bond. Also, when we were in Egypt, this is in Exodus, it said we had to use straw, which comes from the word tabawana, which means straw, which is what we use to make bricks, which is laban, which means to make a brick in order to build. It also means white, which means like purity. But it means the use of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Building blocks for the mind or the spirit. As I just said, laban, which means brick or whiteness or refinement. So something hewn, something chiseled. And also, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is nothing but height, length, and width. So she's talking about mathematics. The Torah is nothing but mathematics and geometry. The word emma, which means a cubit, also comes from eman, which means faith. Right? It means faith and also means to be skillful as being a builder or structural integrity. Although there was an actual temple, it represented the refinement and renewal of an individual's mind or spirit, coming from a fruitless state of stagnation to a state of productivity, which is coming out of Egypt, which is Matzarayam or Tsar, which means a trouble or a strait, to the land flowing with milk and honey, which would be the land of Israel, but it means healing and sustenance. But God will this 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 27 to 29. But will God indeed dwell on earth? Behold, the heavens of heavens cannot contain you, much less this temple that I have erected. Now, it said that's the temple that I have erected. So that it's not talking about like an actual place. It's talking about the mind or the spirit. Yeah, how it doesn't dwell in a building. It says it dwells in the midst, which means your mind and your heart. That your eyes may be open toward this house night and day, toward the place which you said, my name will be there. To listen to the prayer that your servant will pray toward this place. And it's also found in Hosea verse 6, where it says he will revive us after 2 days, and on the third day he will raise us up. That's the renewal of man, or the renewal of the mind and spirit, or the newborn generation. Exodus 3 verse 18. And they will hearken to your voice, and you shall come, you and the elders, to the king of Egypt, and you shall say to him, Yahweh God of the Abarayam, which means the crossing over ones, doesn't mean Hebrew, it means the ones who cross over from a state of stupidity to a state of spiritual enlightenment, happened upon us. And now let us go for a 3-day journey in the desert and offer up sacrifices to our God. The word 3, shalash, it means 3. We were in the wilderness for actually 3 days. The number 3 means top rank, chief, captain, a prestigious mind, or to be a master of the mind or the spirit. As I stated before, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, which is also the Torah, is crucial in the development of a man or a nation. It builds foundation, expands mental capacity, and the ability to problem solve, creativity, and inventiveness, which means ideas. So nothing about no ancestor worship, nothing about venerating the ancestors, none of that. The degrees of the temple was the process of refinement for man or nation of Israel and moral code, in a sense of removing the dross of gold to get the purest form of it, which means to master the mind. Gold, you have to burn off the dross to get the purest form, whether it be any metal. You have to burn off the dross. So it would be, quote unquote, the old man being renewed in order to take on other aspects that would make him noble or majestic, or what I'm saying, to be at a state of majesty, not actually like a king, but one who wears the crown holy to Yahweh. The 3 degrees of the temple, which you have the Elam, which is here, where it says the porch, which means to silence yourself, but there also is a lily there, which is a shawashan, which also means renewal. The Hayakal, which is the sanctuary, which means to be able to or to overcome. And then you have the Dabayah, which is the Holy of Holies, which is up here, which represents the mind, which is also where the Ark of the Covenant, and Yahweh said, I will meet you upon the cover of the Ark of the Covenant, which is the mind. He said, there I shall set my meetings with you. It's not talking about a physical temple. But remember, in order to have a society that's functioning without the influence of other nations, this is already provided for us, where we don't have to go take on the traditions and the cultures of other nations. This is already provided for us. The 3 degrees continue, right? You have this is pertaining to the 1st degree, the Masabak, Nakashat, which means to learn by experience, or the copper altar, where the animal is sacrificed, which the animal also represents you being upon the altar. Qarab, which means you're offering or your sacrifice, or the innermost part. You have the Shanek Amadam Nakashat, which is the 2 pillars, which is also the wilderness area coming from Egypt to the land flowing with milk and honey. But it's the testing and trials of man. The Shawashan, which is the lily, or the renewal. Right? Then you have the Hayakal, which contains the menorah, which is the Manara, which also means to flow as water. But also the 7 priesthoods, also the 7 pillars of wisdom. Shalakan Shatam Ats, which is the tables of acacia wood. Shatayam, which means to go to and fro. Ats, which also means counsel. Okay, I'm gonna leave right there.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Thank you, Genesis. Thank you, Devian. Great presentations from both of you. I just want to let you know we're going to the 2nd round. I'm going to go straight into it, Genesis. You can do, if you want to rebut anything that he says just for Genesis, you can, but I'm not going to say, this part of your 15 minutes is a rebuttal. Do what you want with your 15 minutes, starting when I remove myself. Want me to screen share this?
Yes.
When I remove myself, that's when your time starts. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll be back in 14 minutes.
All right, so we're talking about the mind and all that stuff and what he's saying, but I don't see where you can practice any of that in normal society without someone breaking all that down to you. Whereas in Ifa, like, it's pretty simple because you have a priest in place to actually break all that down. Like, I mean, I got confused. This is my first time hearing all that, and I have no idea what the hell he was talking about. Like, so imagine a person that's just new. Imagine a person with mental illness, and you're trying to explain all that to them, and the inner side of the mind. No, you know what? In Ifa, you know what I'm saying? Bottom line is that, look, the Odu, you go to a Babalawo, he gives you a reading. Based on that, you get diagnosed with whatever the problem is. The Odu is broken down into various aspects of the body. Like it breaks down your digestion, your respiratory rate, your reproductive functions, your all these different sexual functions, whatever. And when you get your reading, you understand what is going on with a person mentally as well as physically. Now, he keeps talking about the Orisha and the ancestors. First of all, your ancestors are a part of your DNA. They make up who you are. People are talking about you're worshiping the ancestors. Well, you're worshiping yourself because your ancestors make up everything that you are is everything that came before you through your bloodline. So what do you mean, like, that we're worshiping? It's not ancestor worship. It's that. Well, you know what? If you don't know where you came from, you don't even know that if you got something hereditary or not. I could have a heart problem that my grandmother had. My grandfather. I know right now that my grandparents and my people that passed down, that my grandma had diabetes and had high blood thing, and so I know that when I see it within the family, that it's okay. This is a hereditary. So you're talking about the worship of the animal. We venerate our ancestors because we understand that they are the source of to who we are today. So when he's trying to like downplay the role of the people that came before us, and to be, it's just insane to like think about that like that, when we wouldn't even be here if people didn't come before us. So just to give that reverence is evil and witchcraft, and the Torah is against that. Okay, well then, why do you talk about Moses then? Why are you giving him reverence and putting him up and let my people go and all the other stuff? You should not talk about Moses. You should not talk about any. You shouldn't even talk about what is the purpose of the Torah if you're not talking about people from the past. And then you're talking about how do you diagnose illness using that? We're talking about what is more practical in society. How do you diagnose illness? When a person reads the Torah, how do they know if they're sick or not? And who tells them? Is it a priest? Who? You just read that and you know what to do? You read the book and that's it? And then you just know off rip, okay, the mind and this square and all this. When you read that, such an enlightenment should just come upon you that you understand that. No, in Ifa you have priests, you have Babylao, you have Olarisha priests that understand these things. They make up an aspect of the community. The Orisha are not just things that are worshipped as some kind of like thing outside of God. These are aspects of the body, physical health. Your brain, your eyes, your ears, Ibeji, Orumila, the brain, Obatala, the eyes, Shango, the heart, Olokun, the blood. You understand? And when you get your reading in Ifa from a Babylao or Orisha, they are able to diagnose. Ifa is a scientific system of diagnosis of illness. From a mental standpoint, from a physical standpoint, from a society. So they'll tell you, okay, watch out for this in society. Watch out for this in your health. You're going through some mental issues. You're feeling like kind of sad. You ain't had no sleep lately. You wonder about, okay, well, guess what? And then you might find out, okay, well, go and do this. Go and go get these herbs and go take a bath. Okay, I'm gonna do an Omiero bath, and then that's made up of certain herbs based on the Odu that comes out. There might be, if it's really bad, or you might be on death's door, they might say, okay, we might need to do a sacrifice or do something a little bit more stronger because you about to check out. You are so imbalanced that and it's all about creating what iwapele and balance in the person, in the body, the mind, the spirit, and the community as a whole. Because what did I say earlier before? The microcosm affects the macrocosm, and the microcosm affects the macro versus the micro. So all these things are effective all across the board. Everything that you do affects the universe. Everything that the universe does happen. It's all connected, basically. And then we get into Iwe herbs, okay? In the environmental structure of Ifa, all right, all the Orisha are connected for specific herbs. Those specific herbs connect to a certain organ or physical part of the body. So people get so wrapped up in the pictures and the images of the Orisha, but if you don't really go deeper into it, you would never know that this is really bodily functions. That these, and then when you get it deeper into it, you'll find out, oh, okay, well, you guys are getting you guys are getting using sacrifices and this, that, the other. Okay, sacrifice could take many forms. Maybe giving up something, like not eating a certain thing. Maybe eating a certain thing like that you normally probably wouldn't do. Maybe fasting, changing in behavior. It both translates as an offering or a sacrifice. It has a broader meaning, modifying the energy field. You stop what you've been doing this with, try something different. That's the sacrifice. That's the ebo. You're talking about that it's a demonic thing. He's gonna get into the demon that the Orisha, the ancestors, they're demons and this, that, the other. But there's a difference between we understand that there's a difference between demonic possession and spiritual possession. When a person is possessed, okay, a possession can not only just be like that they're acting. A person can just be acting strangely. It's like in schizophrenia. A person was normally acting one way, and now they're acting a certain different way. They are possessed at that point, and it might be a demonic possession. You know what I'm saying? So there's a different. We have accounts for demonic possession versus spiritual possession. You know what I'm saying? Now, when we talk about these different types of possessions that happen, those things are also spoke about in the Torah. We talk about King Saul, the one of the clearest examples of a demonic possession. When Saul was overtaken by the Spirit of God and begins to prophesy, appearing to lose control of his normal functions. Right, so that's some possessions. But it said that the evil spirit from the Lord tormented him. So I don't understand how the Lord is going to send the evil spirit, to torment him. But bottom line is that both of these things talk about the same exact things in some kind of a way. But I think that a lot of times it's very misunderstood from an Ifa perspective that, oh, okay, what you're doing is witchcraft, but then you have the same exact thing in the Torah. You'll say, oh, no, this is not, the Torah is against that, but then you can read it right out of the Torah, exactly the same thing happening. The similar practices. All right, so when you actually get into possession in in Ifa, you know, music is a huge part of Ifa. When we actually really break down music forms a semi-solid mass. If you understand string theory, that about when we talk about vibration and all those things, when you combine herbs, you combine the readings, you combine the singing, you understand that all this stuff is really a whole aspect of how the community works. You know what I'm saying? You'll find that even today, that music, it causes spiritual possession. And why? Because the actual hertz of music, 432 hertz. We call it Eji Ogbe, promotes healing, clarity, and a sense of oneness. Oyeko Meiji, it causes grounding, pain relief, and calming of fear. Transformation of DNA, that's Agunda Meiji, cutting through obstacles. Orosu Meiji, health and restoration. Now, when people like talk about the rituals that we do, and you say that this person is getting possessed by the ancestors and that we're worshiping the ancestors, understand that all this is really scientific stuff. It's not like this spooky thing that we have. Everything can be explained in a scientific manner. And we are very aware, us practitioners understand and know how to break that thing down. When you're talking about the Torah and how when in practice in society, there's so much. How can you really, if you don't understand from a very deep level what all those things mean in the Torah, how can you heal yourself? But the difference between a person in the Torah and Ifa is that Ifa, the priests are there to give you the direction in the community to actually explain those things to you and to actually heal you along the way. If you just read the Torah, you're going to be confused. Like, what are you talking? How am I going to connect that to my brain? And how do I heal myself? What you just said. Okay, well, that's the brain and this, that, the other. And I don't understand how that is going to heal society. We need an overall system that understands things, that breaks things down from a community aspect, from a health, vibration, spirituality, that understands how to heal us and understands, like, through herbs. Okay, that these things get broken down very detailed. The people that practice Ifa understood herbology very well and understood how to heal themselves, understood not only how to eat the certain things, but to heal themselves through what they ate. And all those things are in the Odu, in the actual Odu Ifa. The Odu Ifa is over, I would say, almost, I mean, I couldn't even tell how many, like 400,000 pages of if you actually were to actually write it down. So that's how immense that the body of knowledge is. You know, so it accounts for everything from every situation that can possibly, any combination, 256 combinations, 16 major, 400,000 or more variations of situations that could affect your life in any given way. And the bottom line is that when you have a system that's that deep, of course that would be more relevant for society. Why? Because society is always changing. Individuals need individualistic, not a group solution. We've had the group solution and it has not done us any good. But when we actually applied the individual solution to the problem, then okay, now we getting somewhere. When people practice voodoo, which is an offshoot of Ifa, because Ifa is the thing of divination, right? So most voodoos, people that practice voodoo practice Ifa. Ifa is usually, you have Ifa, you have Candomblé, you have voodoo. All those things fall under the Ifa umbrella, right? They were able to conquer. They were able to get out of slavery from that. You know, they were able to defeat the French. Why? Because they had the actual understanding of the herbs. They understood the land. They understood how to the fauna and the flora of the earth. They had the priests. They had the understanding. And then all those people, because of the connection between Ifa and the community in Africa, all those people, even though they came from different parts of Africa, were still able to work together and commune with each other, even though they were separate tribes, because spiritually they had an understanding. And that's why they were able to overcome. And I believe that the system that exists today, it wants to keep us in a box. Me as an Ifa practitioner, I have nothing against a person that's a Torah, and I can learn the Torah. But you would say to me as an Ifa practitioner, what you are doing is evil, witchcraft, this, that, the other. Meanwhile, people are getting, you go to an herbalist, half the stuff they're doing is in the Ifa. All the herbs and fauna, I'm sorry, let me go back to the herbs. All the herbs and all the understanding of herbology and of the body is all Ifa. Sorry, let me get back to this. When you talk about the Orisha, you think that you're talking about some kind of a deity, but you're really talking about yourself. When you think you're talking about the ancestors, you think that the ancestors are outside of yourself, but no, they are part of you. That's my time.
Thank you. You relinquished the last minute. That's perfect. Thank you very much. Now going into your second round, your 15-minute round, Devian, let me know when you want me to start your time. I will come back when you have a minute left. You want to
Yep.
share a screen?
Yep. I'll share my screen.
Got it. Everyone, please hit the like and share the debate. Support the debaters. Support the channel. All right, Devian, let me know. You tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Time starts now.
I don't know why she keep trying to equate Ifa with the Torah. And I'm gonna show in the presentation what they say Orishas are deities that they worship and do rituals. But there's also herbs in the Torah. I don't need to go to a priest to know that I'm sick. Come on, man. There's many herbs within the Torah. There's cumin, coriander, dill, hyssop, mint, anise, garlic, mustard seed. There's cinnamon. There's also something called quanabasham, which is what's also they call cannabis. There's already herbs in the Torah. The Torah has everything that you need in order to build a society and sustain the people of the nation. Also improve the mind at the same time. Right? So let's get to it. This Ezekiel 43 verse 10. Remember I was talking about the temple or the house or the bayat. Well, I know she don't understand it because obviously she don't know Torah. So describe the house or the bayat to the house of Israel, like I said before, which is also the temple, which represents you. It says, if they are ashamed of all that they have done, let them know the form of the house, or the bayat or the temple, and its scheme, its exits, its entrances, all its forms, and all it says laws, but it's actually Torah, which means instructions or teachings. And all its teachings was also Yara, which means to direct, and write them down in their sight so that they keep the whole form of thereof in the laws and do them. The temple represents you, improvement of the inward man, that you may be wise and discerning in the eyes of the nations, right? In the nations that are among us or around us. And that's why I said, in the land of your captivity, you will remember yourselves. The Torah requires you to apply your mind for productivity and skillfulness through the use of noetics and superconsciousness, and not through the use of witchcraft, which I don't know why she keeps saying it's not witchcraft. I'm going to show you later in the presentation. I want to read this too. This is Proverbs 1. It says, in order to make known words, wisdom and discipline, to make words of understanding discernible, to accept wise discipline, righteousness, justice, and fairness, to provide simpletons with cleverness, a youth with knowledge and design, and a wise one may hear and increase his learning, and the discerning one may acquire strategies to understand parable and epigram, the words of the wise and their enigmas. There's many allegories throughout the Torah, which they're like knots and riddles. You have to apply your mind or your spirit in order to understand. Talking about venerating the ancestors and Orisa worship, do nothing for the mind. And remember, she said demon possession. Well, demons are also spirits too. So when they call on their Orishas and they go into a trance-like state, losing consciousness, well, let's see if that's helpful for the mind or deteriorates it. And she also said sacrifices. So let's see what the sacrifices are. The sacrifices Yahweh desires. For you do not wish a sacrifice, or I should give it. You do not desire a burnt offering. The sacrifices of God are broken, or shabar, which is spirit, shabar, which means broken, or spirit, rawak, which also means mind. Oh God, you will not despise a broken and crushed heart, right? Because the heart also means mind, which is la or labab, but it means broken. One who's poor in the mind. Then you will desire sacrifices of righteousness, a burnt offering, a whole offering, and then they will offer up bulls on your altar. So you're talking about mental illness, right? That's what the Torah is to improve those who are hindered from concepts other than of carnality or of earthbound. So let's go to Psalms 40. You desire neither sacrifice nor meal offering. You dug ears for me, a burnt offering or a sin offering you did not request. Then I said, behold, I have come with the scroll of a book that is written for me. Oh God, I desire to do your will. You have and to have your Torah in my innards, which is innards is ma'ah, and Torah, which is instruction or teaching. So when they're talking about sacrifices, the Most High didn't desire no sacrifices. It's talking about you improving yourself or the renewal. She's talking about body parts and babalao and herbs, and how's that supposed to help the mind? The sacrifices represent the refinement of man. You can find this in Leviticus 3. We sacrifice of the flock and we sacrifice of the bulls, but they represent you. Korah, which means to come near or to approach, or the innermost thought. These are all things that we had to offer of the animals. Korah, which means sacrifice, also means oblation, or to come near, or the mind, or sacrifice, or the innards. So it does mean to give up something, not to eat something more. Like, come on, man. It's talking about to give up something of your former self, which is example like the gold I gave, to burn off the dross. You have blood or dam or dama, which means likeness or similitude of the animal that's being sacrificed, which is supposed to be unblemished, which also means like pure or like a pure heart and mind, which with good intentions. Kalab, which means choice or best part, fat, milk, or sustenance, like going to the land flowing with milk and honey. It's a heads about mind state. Kidneys, the kalayat, which you also get this word kale, which means like a vessel or something to be used. Kidneys or the interior mind, to use your mind. Kasal, which means confidence, to be firm, or also means like the flanks or the loins, also means hope. The kabod, which means liver or honor, respect, wealth, splendor, wealth of the mind, to store up knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Allah, which also means to ascend, arise, elevate, or a burnt offering. So that's what the offerings represent. It represent you. The sacrifices Yahweh desires is a broken mind, spirit, or which is a rock, and contrite heart. This notes the humble, the lowly, the meek, and those who seek Yahweh will find him. The Torah makes a simple one wise, as I just read in Proverbs 1. But wait, they use human sacrifice in Yoruba culture? How is this beneficial for anybody? Ifa also birthed voodoo and Santeria, which follows the same principles and rituals of traditional Ifa. And they also use aspects of Catholicism. Blood sacrifice is the... Hold on, I need to make this big so I can see this. Come on, man. Blood sacrifice is the most important and efficient of all sacrifices in the understanding of African rituals. This is evident in the offering of animal and human beings. Human sacrifice is also predominant in Yoruba culture and religion. This is a practice found in every race and culture throughout the world. Well, it's not found in the Torah because we want sacrificing no people. We ain't believe in human sacrifice. And like I said, the sacrifices represent you. But I guess obviously there was sacrificing humans. This is a palace. If I'm not mistaken, it's located in the city of Abomi in Benin. The structure is said to have been built using blood of 41 voodoo sacrifice victims, and a new study indicates the legend is probably true. See, human sacrifice? The binder of the walls is not standard mortar, but it is claimed to be made of red oil and lustral water mixed with the blood of 41 sacrificial victims, 41 being a sacred number in voodoo. I'm not trying to say the word. Protomaic results also confirm the presence of hemoglobin and immunoglobulins from both humans and chickens, proving that the wall bender is indeed made of human blood. Well, human sacrifice. Well, I guess that's what they was doing in Yoruba culture. How is that sacrificial? I mean, how is that beneficial for any of our people? Human sacrifice? Come on, man. Forbidden practices in the Torah. The Torah prohibits the worship of other nations' gods and their practices, especially the practice of witchcraft and the reversal of natural law. Deuteronomy 18. When you come to the land Yahweh your God is giving you, you shall not learn to do like the abominations of those nations. What they were doing. You have the Jebusite, the Canaanites, the Ammonites, whatever they were doing. That's why they got kicked out the land, because they wanted to be mohos, sacrifice humans, sacrifice their children, practice fancy. There shall be not found among you anyone who passes his son or daughter through fire, a soothsayer, a divine of auspicious times, one who interprets omens, or a sorcerer, or a charmer, a Pithom sorcerer, a Yada sorcerer, which means to know, or a necromancer. So when she brought up Saul, he had an evil spirit on him because he wanted to kill David, who was anointed. Well, if she knew the Torah, then she would know that. But he had an evil spirit on him, and what did he do? He went to a conjurer or a witch. So of course he had a demon on him, or an evil spirit. For whoever does these things is an abomination to Yahweh, and because of these abominations, Yahweh your God is driving them out before you, which is what happened. Ifa is polytheistic, even though they claim to be monotheistic. But they pray, sacrifice, and do rituals to worship the many orishas at shrines, which takes on aspects of nature. Steeped in ancient West African tradition or spiritual tradition of the Yoruba people, Ifa honors a pantheon of deities called orishas, which are representations of elements of nature. These orishas are led by the supreme creator Olodumare, or he goes by Ogun or Orunmila, or a whole bunch of different names, which nothing but animism. Ifa is animism, which is the worship of nature that's practiced all over the world in other religions such as Hinduism, Buddhism, etc. She told you at the beginning that Ifa is similar to those nations. The Torah is not religion; it's a book of psychology, and we don't practice Judaism, so I don't know why she keep trying to make the Torah. Ezekiel 20 verse 32. But what enters your mind shall not come about. What you say, let us be like the nations, like the families of the lands to serve wood and stone. Yeah, I think not. Let's go. Yahweh is one, and you shall know this day and consider in your heart or your mind or your love that Yahweh He is God in heaven above and upon. Ancestors in Ephraim were often deified and worshipped by its practitioners for divination and contacting spirits. When the ancestors disappeared or died, which was a dead person, the worship of a dead person. Yes, Moses is dead, but we don't worship him. We don't contact him. Moses wrote the Torah. I mean, that's what it is. When the ancestors disappeared and became Orishas, their children began to sacrifice to them and to continue whatever ceremonies the Orishas had performed when they were on the earth. This worship has passed on from generation to the next in their native areas, which West African Yoruba culture, which is where they practice human sacrifice. People formed groups that worshipped and venerated these Orishas and secured a place for their cult group in the religious and social organizations of towns where they lived. Let me continue. Community-based celebrations generally center on the worship or study of a particular Orisha to whom household members are dedicated. So out of the 400, they were dedicated to one of them, or they would sacrifice to many of them. I'm gonna skip down. It says, in the trance state, the worshiper becomes spiritually possessed and channels the Orisha, giving the community and individuals information, perform healing, etc. Household rituals are public and open to all invited to attend. One ancestor's Egun or Ogun are held in high esteem in the Orisha worshippers' traditions. So it says that they become spiritually possessed, which is a trance-like state, which is the loss of consciousness, which is the stagnation of the mind. Let's keep it going. Nevertheless, there is great significance attached to the gatherings of the household of the honor of Olodumare, the transcendent one, the great one, who rules and sustains the universe, who they say is the Orishas are under. Worshippers also honor the Orishas or saintly manifestations of Olodumare and their deceased ancestors. Orisha worshiping religions are religions of practice rather than belief, which is why they do rituals and divination or magic. In the wider community, these gatherings would generally occur within household or small communities, practitioners and visitors. So that they worship the Orishas, which are nothing but deified. Let's go back. Nothing but deified ancestors who are dead, who they conjure. Deuteronomy 4. I'm going to get to the important parts. Lest you become corrupt and make for yourself the graven image, the representation of any form, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged bird that flies into heaven, the likeness of anything that crawls on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth. Unless you lift your eyes to heaven and see the sun, the moon, the stars, and all the hosts of heaven, which Yahweh your God assigned to all the peoples under the entire heaven, and be drawn away to prostrate yourself to them and worship them. Which, as I stated before, the worship of nature is prohibited in the Torah.
Time. Thank you, thank you so much. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you good.
Thank you, Devian, for that powerful round. Thank you to both the debaters. Now we're going into the last round, the third round. 10 minutes each. I'll go straight in. When you're ready, whatever you need to share, Genesis, I'm sharing it for you. Let me know when you want me to start. I'll be back in 14 minutes. You're muted.
So this is a 14-minute round or
oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I'll be back in 9 minutes. Real quick. Please, thank you to the mods. We appreciate everything you do. You know what you're doing. Just please let the people live. If they're not being disrespectful, let them have their opinions. You know, this is the toughest environment. Peace to Elder Yara, everybody. I see you in the chat. Just everybody has their own opinion. Just as long as you do not disrespect Devian or Genesis. That's all we asked, or the platform. So yes, thank you for reminding me. My bad. 9 minutes. You get 10 minutes. I'll be back in 9 to let you know you have a minute left. Tell me when you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Your time starts now.
All right, so the Torah emphasizes monotheism, declaring oneness with God in the Shema, Hear, O Israel, Lord our God, Lord is one, right? Now, worshiping multiple deities such as Orisha is considered adultery. However, Orishas are not considered gods. Now, I just broke down to you the whole body system and what the Orisha really mean and what they really represent. And if you actually play the sonic frequency of that Orisha, because sound equals frequency equals vibration, and you break it down into a string theory aspect of things, then you can in fact get possessed. If you go to a club and they play the right sound, your body is going to move. Some people might, even if they actually take in certain substances, might even get violent, might become more sexual, might become more energetic, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or just even off of just a natural high alone, just the body. Now in Ifa, because they our ancestors, and I give reverence to my ancestors, understood sound frequency. The universe itself has a sound. The earth has a sound. Everything in the universe, your body is vibrating. There's a sound to your body in this vibration. And when you can manipulate that with sound, which is what those ceremonies that you're speaking of do, is that there are drums that are involved. People are not just becoming possessed just because we walk into a room with it and there's a whole situation of chanting and things going on in that ceremony that lead to the actual possession that happens, similar to when you go to a Christian church and they have the organist playing and they have the drums playing and they have the choir singing, and it brings up a certain vibration and energy that people begin to purge out their sadnesses. Certain the musicians understand certain frequencies and how to make people cry, how to make people laugh. They know how to bring the emotions down and then up and to bring you so you might feel sad, just so you could get. You ever notice that you feel sometimes better after you go and hear a church and listen to the music and how they get your emotions going, get you to kind of purge out those things that are bothering you, and then finally you feel that release, and then now you're dancing, having, and you're listening to the music, and now you feel good. That's what music does, and that's all those ceremonies when you talk about possession are doing. They are utilizing sonic frequencies to actually permeate the body and heal you from within. In some cases, some people are very in touch with their Orisha. They might begin to prophesy to each other. They might begin to give each other advice. Okay, they might get a message. You know what I'm saying? And let me tell you something. Prophesying and messaging is not witchcraft. It's not getting message from demons. There's plenty of prophesizers that are in throughout the Torah and the Bible, and all religions have its prophets. So for a person to like say that, oh no, that this is witchcraft and what you guys are doing, talking to the ancestors and y'all are worshiping the ancestors. Well, no, when those ceremonies that are happening are going on, there's an entire thing that's going on where you're breaking down into sound frequencies through the drums, through the songs. They're singing in certain frequencies, and it's bringing up a certain energy, making it vibrate a certain way to bring about these things to happen. And if you understood sound, vibration, and frequency, as if you understand, like, okay, when we break it down, is this more valuable for society? Let me tell you why it's more practical to understand these things. It's because if you don't understand these things, then all this stuff is foreign to you, and you don't even know how that people can manipulate you through sound. If you don't even understand sound frequency, now us and Ifa understand these things. Ifa understand these things. We understand the scientific breakdown of sound. We understand the breakdown of herbs. We understand the connection to our Risha, to our bodies. We understand how Odu connects to our bodies. We understand because we are one with nature and one with everything within the universe as it exists. We understand vibration. We understand how to send out vibration. We understand how to block vibration. People could be sending out negativity your way. You don't even know how to block it. Why? Because you're so busy thinking it's witchcraft to be able to protect yourself. You think we understand the scientific aspect of string theory. All this is mathematics and science, but people want to make it into spookism and turn it into something evil and we don't want to go back into our ancient ancestors and what they know. We want to turn our backs to it, and we want to deny it and say, oh, this is all witchcraft, it's all evil. And we don't even understand how we could be empowered through it. We don't understand how our own power lies in understanding that these systems, that, you know what, our enemies are using the systems against us, and that's why we're sitting up here powerless. You want to just read one book and be in a box and not understand how sound frequency works when they're using it to manipulate the weather, harp, and you're wondering why you're in a hurricane? Look in your Torah and tell me how that harp machine is changing up the weather. But I can tell you from Ifa how it is, because they're using certain sound frequencies and they're bouncing it off the stratosphere. Why? Because Odu Ifa already has a pataki, and it already has an Odu that explains these things. Why? But if we only are thinking in the standpoint of, oh no, that is witchcraft or that's evil, whatever. Oh, you worshiping the ancestors. Well, honey, my ancestors are me, and I am my ancestors. So I'm worshiping myself essentially. By giving reverence to my ancestors, I'm giving reverence to myself. If I give by giving reverence to the Orisha, which embody my entire body, I'm giving reverence to myself. It's not outside of me. The macrocosm affects the microcosm. Everything outside affects the inside. I'm not separate from that. But when you think that there's a separation, you find evil things, and you find the negative and the evil within it. When you talk about divination, you talk about that. Okay, well, I don't need a Bible out to tell me this and this. Okay, well, how do you heal yourself? How do you do that in the Torah? How do I look into the Torah, and if I have the flu, how do I know what to do if I got the flu? Show me what biblical verse. You said that the Torah has herbs and stuff like that. Okay, well, what herb combination, and show me within what verse that if you have the flu, these are the herbs, and these are the herbs you should take, because that's what's in Ifa. In Ifa, when you actually go to a practitioner, it could tell you, hey, you got this, whatever. All right, based on that, this is what you should take. That exists in Ifa. Ifa is a holistic system. It's not just about laws and rules about what you should not do and shouldn't do. It's about what you as an individual, what you need to look out for, and that those things can change on a regular basis. And so that's why you get readings, you get divination on a regular basis. If you just have one set of laws and that thing is supposed to carry from BCE X amount of time, and it's supposed to carry the whole entire nation of Israelites, but then you have individual problems that are coming up today as time goes on, how do you deal with that? What if an alien ship comes flying into this? It could be. We have different sicknesses coming out, illnesses coming out. How do we deal with that? Ephah provides a way. Ephah provides inspiration. When you deal with the individual, then you can't deal with everybody. You have to deal with each individual person because each individual person has different circumstances. You're telling me, oh, the Torah has it explains. No, it does not explain how I get over if I have a bipolar disorder. Where do I go in the Torah that explains what herbs I can take to heal bipolar disorder? They have that in Ephah. How are the herbs that you actually you spoke of? Let's break down. Okay, so are those the only herbs that you take if you are a Torah believer? There's like thousands of herbs upon this earth, and you mean to tell me those are the only herbs that you guys have in your belief system? I think you would be doomed as a society to only have that, the only example. You need to really like think about how when we get into the Torah, you're so focused on the negative aspects of the health of the witchcraft aspect of it. Maybe you need a little so-called witchcraft in your life so you can heal yourself. Because all those herbs are healing. They can either heal you, or if you take it the wrong way, it can either destroy you. And if you don't know the difference, then that's where you can run into a problem as a society. All right, is that my time?
Yeah, thank you. You're at 9:40, but you have 20 seconds left. You're good?
Yep.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Genesis. Going now straight into the brother Devian's final round. You have 10 minutes. I will come back when you have 1 minute left. Let me know when you want to start your time. Sure. Please hit the like. I see you out there, my sister Gemini, and everybody else. I see you. Okay, Devian, your screen is shared. Tell me when you're ready. I'll start your time.
Slideshow. All right, we're good.
Okay, time starts now.
All right. The sister made a whole bunch of claims. She's talking about herbs, aliens, a whole bunch of other stuff that has nothing to do with the debate. She still hasn't shown how it's more practical in society or establishing a government for quote unquote Black Americans, right? And I'm just wondering, like, where in your sacred text can I find these things? And she also used verses of the Torah, so I guess she slowly want to become a Torah knight. And also, people with mental illness can still be diagnosed without a babalao. People can still be diagnosed with bipolar and schizophrenia. So I don't know. Back to the presentation. The prohibition of ancestor worship. According to Ephah oral tradition, communication with your ancestors is a birthright and requires no special sanction. At times, it's communication. At times, this communication can simply involve remembering a revered ancestor and making use of the memory as a basis for making an important decision. In many ways, ancestor communication is an extension of the training and wisdom we receive from our parents and grandparents and Yoruba culture. It is common for the uninitiated to make direct contact with the ancestor. That's why you have to go. That's why she says you have to go through a babalao, which will be a priest, who does the spells and whatever, right? And as I stated before, we'll go back. The ancestors were deified as orishas and aspects of nature. Ancestor worship is against the Torah. Leviticus 19 verse 31. You shall not turn to the sorcery of Aweb or Yada Anayam, and shall not seek these and thereby defile yourselves through them. I am Yahweh your God. Let's see what about this. Let it load up here. If it loads up. Ewab, a necromancer, a mediums, a spirit, a necromancer, woman that had the familiar spirit, or is that of a wizard? Yeah, forbidden in the Torah. Let's see what Yada Anayam is. Remember, it said necromancer. So when she brings up Saul, he went to a necromancer, a familiar spirit, spiritus, a familiar spirit, which is nothing but ancestor worship. A knowing one, specifically a conjurer, a ghost, a wizard. So I guess they out here getting possessed by ghosts and demons. Let's keep it moving. No more witchcraft. Exodus 22 verse 17. You shall not allow a sorceress or kashaf to live. Leviticus 20 verse 27. And a man or a woman who has the sorcery of Ewab, which is witchcraft, or a Yadane, which is also a necromancer or a familiar spirit or a wizard, shall surely be put to death. They shall pelt them with stones, and their blood is upon themselves. The definition of trance. Wait, I missed one. a temporary mental condition in which someone is not completely conscious and or not in control of himself or herself. Right? A hypnotic state resembling sleep, which is the definition of trance. Any mental state in which a person is unaware and apparently unaware of the environment, characterized by loss of voluntary movement, rigidity, and lack of sensitivity to external stimuli, which hinders the functions of the mind: planning, problem solving, motivation, analyzing, recognizing, touch, pain, temperature, vibration, visual sensory. Let's go back. Let me find my spot. Let's go back. A state in which a medium or a wizard, having temporary lost consciousness, can supposedly be controlled by an intelligence from without as means of communication with the dead. A medium, as I just showed, is a witch, a sorcerer, a conjurer. Being in a state of hypnosis or unconscious is adversarial to a strong and productive mind. The Torah also, the Torah aids mental fortitude, intellect, purpose of man to make him a master of the mind or the spirit. We continue. This is a text of Eva. She said the holy Odu. What I guess this is your teacher. The author of this book is Awo Fetgebi Funtumbi Sola. I guess he's a Yoruba too. Development of society. Throughout the Torah, there are many aspects dated to maintaining a wise nation, the governing of oneself, producing a better moral code and intelligent society for our people, along with equal weights and judgments in all affairs. Not to rely on another's culture, but stick to your own. Governing the people. Deuteronomy 6 verse 4. And you shall keep them and do them. So for that is your wisdom and your understanding in the eyes of the peoples or the nations who will hear all these statutes and say, only this great nation is wise and understanding people. Through the 10 Commandments. The 10 Commandments are charges for all of Israel to maintain a strong foundation and proper moral code. The Torah is the heritage of the congregation of Jacob, which is our heritage, which is not a religion. It's our heritage, how to conduct ourselves in society. Deuteronomy 33. The Torah that Moses commanded us is the legacy for the congregation of Jacob. And he was king in Yeshurun, which is another word for Israel, which means upright, Yeshar, whenever the sum total of the people were gathered and the tribes of Israel together, or unified. Under what? The Torah and 10 Commandments. Helping the poor in civil interaction. There are many decrees and ordinances stated to provide honest dealings and proper judgment with others among society. Gifts to the poor. We are to, when we reap our harvest, we are to leave some for the poor and for the stranger who is among our gates. The killing of another. One who strikes a man so that he dies shall surely be put to death. But one who did not stalk him, but God brought it about in his hand, I will make a place for you to which he shall flee, which are called refuge cities. So if a man was to kill one man, not deliberately, he would have a chance to flee to that city. But if a man plots deliberately against his friend to slay him with cunning, even from my altar shall you take him to die. Work and wages. If someone's working for you, you shall not oppress your fellow. You shall not rob. The hired worker's wage shall not remain with you overnight until morning. So even workers getting paid, we had a statute for that. Manner towards other nations. When a stranger sojourns in your land, you shall not taunt him. The stranger who sojourns with you shall be as a native from among you, and you shall love him as yourself, as you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am Yahweh your God. You shall not mistreat a stranger. Where in Ephah can I find anything about how to conduct yourself in society? Equal weights and measures, or proper judgment. Leviticus 19 verse 15. You shall commit no injustice in judgment. You shall not favor the poor or respect a great man. You shall judge your fellow with righteousness, which means you shall have equal weights and balances of judgment. Prohibits immorality. Leviticus 19 verse 29. You shall not defile your daughter by making her a harlot, lest the land fall into harlotry and the land be filled with immorality. Deuteronomy 23 verse 17. There shall not be a prostitute of the daughters of Israel, and there shall not be a male prostitute of the sons of Israel. And you shall not be promiscuous. This is what the Torah prohibits. For forbidden relationships, whether it would be relationships of incest, which cause birth defects, and practices that reverse the natural way of life or law, which is what's needed to grow a nation. So like moho, bestiality, you know what I'm saying? Mating with incest, pretty much. This is all prohibited in the Torah. To have a better moral code and how to conduct yourself. Even today's judicial system is based heavily off the Bible or the Torah, American law in colonial days, and continues to influence the judicial system today. Right now, the judicial system is not fair. But if you commit a crime, you go to jail, pretty much, or there's repercussions. and Nat Turner in the Bible, who used the Bible to fight back against oppression. But with that, I'll yield my time there.
Okay, great. All right, perfect. Now we're going to move into into the question and answer round. Basically, we will do 5 minutes for each debater. We will start with Genesis. Genesis, you have 5 minutes to ask him as many questions as you like. He has 1 minute to answer the question. I'm not going to do that one thing, which that's up to other debaters and other moderators, where the person has to stop when you say stop. They have a full minute to answer, regardless if you like what they're saying or not. So your time starts now. You have 5 minutes to ask him, just question him about whatever you want to challenge. And once your 5 minutes is up, then we'll move to him and he'll do the same for you. Any questions? You're muted.
So am I supposed to be asking him questions, or am I supposed to be addressing certain stuff that I have questions about? Why,
Exactly. Well, logically, you're going to try to tear apart his position and what he presented.
Okay.
So you're going to ask him questions about it. He has a minute to answer. So that's where the timing is. So really, when I say 5 minutes, yeah, we'll still do 5 minutes. So it's just a block of time for 5 minutes for both of you to do this from your end, from you being the protagonist, the asker of questions. So start when you want. I'll start the timer and I'll end it.
Do I show my screen and stuff?
If you want to, keep in mind that you're using your 5 minutes, and I'm not going to be able to pause it for the time for you.
Okay.
If it really is crucial to use your screen, go ahead, but really just ask him, start questioning him, dig in where you can address him and put his feet to the fire. Same with you, Devian. You know this though. Okay, so whatever you want to do, let me know when your time starts and I'll start the timer.
I'll start the screen.
Okay, now are you ready to start your time? I'm starting your time now.
So a lot of the times that he's saying, this whole time he's saying, the Torah, I don't understand why she keeps saying that the Torah have similarities. Okay, yeah, Ephah understands good character. Why is it that you believe that there is no other culture outside of like the Hebrew Israelites that has a culture that understands the balance of good character? Why do you think that that everything in existence that have ever existed except for the Torah as an understanding does not have any kind of foundational understanding of that within it, when societies existed way before the Torah have ever existed?
Okay, go ahead. You have 5 minutes. 1 minute to answer that. Go ahead, Devian.
We can't hear you.
Oh, you're muted. You're muted, Devian.
No, I was saying, are you asking me if other religions have an idea of balanced character, pretty much?
Well, basically, you're making it seem like that the Ephah does not have any concept of a balanced character of anything. It's just witchcraft. It's evil. I'm trying to understand, why do you feel that all these other beliefs, Hinduism? You said I tried to compare it to Hinduism and this, that, the other. Like all these things are just bad. With the Torah, we're about the mind and we're about this. I'm trying to understand, why is it that you feel like the Torah is the only civil thing? This book is the only thing that has that within it. Okay,
Devian, you have a minute to answer that. You are at 2 minutes, Genesis. So go ahead, Devian.
Because it says the Torah is the heritage of the congregation of Jacob. So that's how we build. That's how we build up as quote unquote Black Americans. That's how we build up our nation. Other nations already have their religion or whatever. Why do we have to go to someone else's culture to understand our own? That I don't understand it. But it's similar to Hinduism. They're based off the aspects of nature and carnality, which is what the Torah prohibits.
Okay, that's your minute. All right, go ahead. Genesis, I'm gonna now you have your 2 minutes. I'm starting your time again. Ask your question. Your second question. You're muted.
In my presentation, I explained, how the actual human body is understood within Ephah. Because when we're talking about what's more practical for society, how does the Torah heal it? How do you heal yourself using the Torah?
Okay, your time is paused. Devian, you have a minute to answer starting now.
Healing yourself in the Torah represents your mind. So it's the building up of the mind, not of body parts or health. But if you want with the mind, you can also be in better health. As far as you said, mental illness, right? If someone is depressed, the Torah is a gateway in order to build the character of oneself who is lacking. It's that the Torah is a book of psychology and basically how to improve the one who is lacking of ideas and progressive thought to remove the stagnation.
So if a person had gangrene
This
in
is
their
your third
leg,
question. Go ahead.
a person had gangrene in their leg, how do they? If I had gangrene in my leg, how would I use the Torah to heal myself?
Okay, Devian, your time starts now.
You would I don't know. The Torah doesn't state gangrene.
Or say my leg was about to fall off. How do I use the Torah to fix that?
The Torah doesn't state if your leg gonna fall off.
Say I'm about to have a heart attack. Does the Torah alert me of whether or not I might need to do something with my heart or whatever? How do I diagnose myself using the Torah of any illness?
You don't use the Torah to diagnose ailments.
So how does a community diagnose itself if they're only reading from the Torah?
Because one knows when his leg's about to fall off.
So how do they fix the problem using the Torah?
I'm sorry?
How do they fix it using the Torah?
The Torah doesn't state how to fix a leg.
So what do people do if the society needs a help in a medical format and they're only using the Torah? How do they survive when the Torah does not have anything within it that deals with health and how to maintain one's health and how to heal itself?
Well, it does have maintaining one's health as far as what you can eat and what you shouldn't eat, and also based off the Levitical priesthood. Once you have an ailment or a disease, you are to go to the Levites.
Okay, so the Levites, all right, is that in the Torah? Do they use the Torah to heal you, or what do they do?
What do you mean? They will come and look at it, and if you were something that was contaminated, they will put you in contamination or away from the rest of the camp.
So they wouldn't give you herbs or anything like that to heal you, or that was based in the Torah, those curcumin, those specific herbs that you pointed out from the Torah. How does that community that only is going off of the Torah alone able to survive when a person is having a physical ailment? Say it's the plague. What do? They just throw them in a pit somewhere? Like, what do they do?
No. When you go to the Levite, if the affliction is clearing up, then you're unclean for 7 days. But it depends on the affliction.
Okay.
But
So,
what else? Questions?
Say it again.
Well, wait, you have 30 more seconds to answer the rest of that if you want.
Okay.
Devian.
Oh, that was.
You got 3 minutes and 38 seconds, and then when she gets to 5, we're gonna flip it over.
I was trying to clarify the question. I really asked 3 questions, but I was really trying to clarify it throughout the thing about how.
Yeah, you have about a minute and a half left of your time, but I'm just letting Devian know he had 30 more seconds to finish answering that if you wanted to. But you have a minute and 30 seconds left to ask more questions. When he's talking, your time is paused. Your 5 minutes. So, would you like to ask another question? Are you finished answering that? You got 30 seconds left, Devian. Do you want to move on?
Would you like to expound upon that?
Is he
Okay.
frozen?
So the Levites, who were the Levites, and would they be considered similar to a priest of like an ephod priest?
No, they would not be considered similar to a ephod priest.
Why
Because
not?
they didn't practice divination.
So the Levite priests did not have their own form of divination.
No.
So what about the Urim and the Thummim and also the casting of lots that happened in the Torah by the Levites?
The Awariyam and Athamayam means to give off light and perfect, which is what the priest is supposed to be. The high priest, only the high priest wore it. And the casting of lots was to determine something, not contact the ancestors in order to figure out an outcome.
Sure. You keep talking about. Okay, I'm gonna
let him finish his time if he wants to. You have about 40 more seconds. Are you done, Devian?
No, the Levites, well, actually, only the high priest wore the Awariyam and the Thamayam in the pockets, and he represented himself as well as all of Israel to atone for their sins. So I mean, I don't know what that was his role. Which and the Thamayam just means perfection, or like without blemish, and to give off light, which is enlightenment.
Okay, go ahead. You have 1 more minute. Go ahead, Genesis.
You keep talking about the ancestors. So do you guys do you guys give any respect to the people that have passed away? So what happens when your loved ones pass away? You just completely forget them like they ever existed?
You have a minute to answer that.
No. My mother passed away 2 years ago, and I know she's my mother, but I don't worship her or look to contact her in any way.
So say it's her birthday. Do you like remember her birthday?
I mean, yeah, this is the day my mama was born. I mean, what?
Okay.
So is that considered worshiping her by remembering her for that day that she was born?
No. But in Ifa, ancestors are deified, which means a god.
That's a very huge misunderstanding, but okay.
Okay.
You have 30 seconds. You have 30 seconds, Genesis. You want to ask one last question?
Hold on. Wait.
You okay?
I'm trying to think of what angle I want to come from.
Okay, well, we can't hold the time for you, but you're doing great, both of you. So just 30 seconds.
All right. So when you talk about possession, do you guys understand anything about musical resonance in the Torah? Is there any room to understand vibration in the Torah?
And you have a full minute to answer that, brother, and then we move on to you. Go ahead.
No, but people did play instruments as far as like the sons of Asaph, and there were many instruments that were played throughout the Torah. You know.
Okay. Okay.
Music has frequency. So your brain has frequencies.
All right. So let's go straight, flip it over. And now, great job, both of you. You guys, some people, I don't know if you were confused. I don't think the debaters were confused. I think that went well. So let's do that for you now, Devian. Essentially, you have 5 minutes to ask as many questions as you can. Genesis, you will have a minute to answer. I would like for you to clarify, but Devian, I wasn't really sure, so I kind of maybe interrupted you. Let me know if you're not going to use your full minute. You know what I'm saying? Say I'm done, or that's all, or something like that. Also, I like the back and forth. It was really organic. Keep that going, but keep in mind that the other person has a full minute to answer. Okay, so when you're ready, Devian, I will start your 5 minutes, and of course I'll pause it when she's answering. She'll get her minute. Let me know when you're ready to start.
Oh, what? Oh, I'm good. I can go.
Yes, sir.
Throughout your presentation, I didn't see any sources. So I would like to see a source of the sacred Odu text of Ifa that states anything that you brought out.
So the Odu of Ifa is an oral tradition. However, if you actually go to, let me see, I think at the end of my presentation, I did have sources at the end, so I didn't really use them within the actual document. Hold on one second. So some of my sources come from the Encyclopedia Britannica, planetherbs.com, that's where I got all the research from, like the body and Ifa. Some of the data came from Wikipedia, Britannica, Encyclopedia Britannica, and places like that. So those are some of the sources where I got stuff. And then if I actually go into this document right here, most of the things that I had in
time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Devian.
So no sacred Ifa text. Got it.
No, Ifa is a oral tradition.
Okay, let's move forward. Go ahead, Devian. Still doing his time.
I got you. But they still say there's 256 verses of poems that they would recite. So I don't know. That's what they call the sacred Ifa text, the Odu. Well, let's continue on. Does other nations worship nature?
Yes.
So therefore, Ifa is nothing but animism.
I don't exactly know what animism is, but I don't believe that Ifa is just animism. It is an entire societal structure. So when you're only talking about the aspect of nature and worshiping nature, you're really limiting the understanding of Ifa to just bare bones understanding. There's an entire structure and spiritual, community, environmental, all types of structure. If you actually look here, there's a spiritual, community, mental health, physical health, environmental, and all those are tools for personal development. And if you only want to break it down into only just nature worship, I think that you would be missing a lot. It's a holistic approach to life.
Well, all the Orishas were examples of nature, which is also practiced in Buddhism, Taoism, Shintoism, and many other major religions all over the world. So it makes it no different from those other religions. And she stated at the beginning,
Correct.
No, just let him go. Just answer the questions, Genesis.
I'm sorry.
As she stated at the beginning of her presentation.
You're at a minute 30 seconds, Devian, to ask. You have more questions?
Yeah, I got more.
Okay.
Did Ifa give birth to voodoo and Santeria?
Okay, you have a minute to answer. Go ahead, Genesis.
Ifa gave birth to various religions and actually have the Odu to back up the religions that it gave birth to, including the Torah, if we actually do the research. However, like if you don't understand the Odu of Ifa, you wouldn't know that because the actual Babalawo priests are the ones that see Odu, that are able to interpret the scriptures. There are places where you can actually read the Odu and break down, but we don't let just anybody read our script, our text. Only priests can interpret the text. So therefore, it's like, you know, so basically the Odu itself is a oral tradition that is that takes years and years to learn. It has almost over 400,000 verses, not just 256. 256 are the major and minor Odu. That's the divination aspect of it that allow you to break down into actually what verse is relevant to the person's
time. Okay, go ahead, Devian. Back to your questioning.
Can people still be diagnosed with mental illness without going to a Babalawo?
Yes, of course they can. However, in society back in those days, right, we did not have hospitals. We did not have mental health facilities. We had the Babalawo and the Olorisha. We had the priests. So the Babalawo and the Iyanifa and the Olorisha are the priests of the society. Before doctors and hospitals and other methods of diagnosis ever existed, these were the diagnosticians of society.
Okay, you have 30 more seconds. You're good?
Yes. Also, when you get into when you get into what is more practical for society, a lot of times we have lost by Western medicine, and by getting back to our natural way of doing things, we will find that using herbs and things like that in our natural methods that we always use would be way more healthier than using something that will only put a band-aid on the problem and not fix the actual issue. And that is what Ifa is about.
Okay, time. Good. Go ahead, Devian. Your time.
All right, so this is gonna be my last question. As I stated,
Devian, you have you have 3 more minutes.
Okay. In my presentation, as everybody clearly saw, that the Yoruba culture practiced human sacrifice. Do you have anything? Do you have anything to say about the human sacrifice that was practiced in the Yoruba culture in early Ifa?
Okay, in early Ifa, just like also when Abraham, I think it was Isaac was about to sacrifice his son, and God gave him the option of sacrificing a ram instead. A similar situation like that happened in Odu Ifa, where at the time Olokun, people would bring their children to Olokun, which is actually like the ocean, and would actually sacrifice their children. And then what happened is that at some point people felt like that was I guess there's a story of Pataki about how they decided that Olokun eventually, Olodumare decided against it, same way how God decided against Isaac sacrificing his child and his son, right? And so just the same kind of a story. Instead of when they were going to people were sacrificing their children to Olokun in the older times, then God decided to ban that practice and also offer a ram instead. So there was a similar story.
Time. Okay, Devian. You have about 3 more minutes still. Yeah, well, you're at 2:13, so you can ask more questions, brother.
First of all, Abraham didn't sacrifice Isaac because God told him to unhand that boy. So,
right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Right. Let me ask my question. If in Yoruba culture, early Yoruba culture, which is what Ifa is based off of, where they practice human sacrifice, is that beneficial for society?
Go ahead,
no, it's not beneficial to society. That is why it is forbidden. And like I said, if you actually, there's actually Odu that actually forbid human sacrifice.
Are you done with that? You have more time.
And actually, I was going to find the Odu that forbids human sacrifice, but I don't know if I can find it that quickly. But hold on, let me see if I can find it. The Odu.
You have 30 seconds.
Hold on, let me see if I can find it. It's Odu Oyeku Meiji. Offering human sacrifice is not acceptable to the Orisha, the deities, or divine spirits in Yoruba belief. Yes, it's Oyeku Meiji. And if you look it up online, Odu Oyeku Meiji will discuss. You'll be able to find that it's not acceptable for human sacrifice.
Thank you. Okay, Devian.
changed. They still sacrifice for blood, which is what they sacrifice to humans for. They still sacrifice for blood today.
I can hear what you're saying.
And,
Sorry.
No, I said they still sacrifice for blood today. So, I just forget my question.
You have 2 minutes.
In the Torah, ancestor worship is completely forbidden, right? I know you keep talking about ancestor worship. In the Torah, ancestor worship is completely forbidden. Is would you consider a babalao a sorcerer?
Go ahead, Genesis.
No, I would not. I would consider him a priest and an actual practitioner of Ifa.
Are you done? You have 53 seconds.
A sorcerer would indicate, like, okay, when you actually go into calling people sorcerers, that's almost like asking, would you consider a doctor a sorcerer or a nurse a sorcerer? Like I said, these people had specific roles in society. This was a society construct. Okay, you had a whole makeup of society where the babalaos and the priests and everything. They were a part of society. They were not just witches or whatever you would call it. So therefore, when you had the priest, they were the devotees. It all broke down into these things. So the babalao was just above the chief and the priest of the society, and they would refer to the babalaos to make decisions. So these were people, all a part of the community. This was a part of the community.
Time. Okay, Devian.
That's sorcery because it's a form of divination to foretell the future, right? Based off of ritualistic practices of African tradition. I mean, that's what it is. He's a diviner. Also, I showed this in my presentation. Are the ancestors deified?
You have a minute to answer that.
There are.
Wait. I think he's still. Go ahead.
Are the ancestors deified to become God? And are they considered orishas?
Okay, thank you. Okay.
There is a group of ancestors that are considered Orisha, right? And those are the ancestors that were significant in society. Egun is what we call them, and those are a specific type of ancestor that maybe held as a high rank in society, was important, and so they got the level of Egun. But just your regular ancestors are just something that you just revere and you hold on to and you respect and you give reverence to because they're just a part. They're your bloodline. They're a part of your bloodline. And Big Mama passed away, so we don't just take Big Mama's picture and throw it into the trash. We make an altar and we give reverence to her and don't forget her. We don't forget that she exists. We don't just throw her away and just pretend like oh, she's gone now. So that's what we do with our ancestors. But we do have a thing called Egun, like how you have Martin Luther King, everybody, Malcolm X, people like that. That's considered an Egun. He will be considered Egun. You understand? Because he is a special ancestor because he made an impact on society.
Time. Okay, and Devian, you have 1 minute, 8 seconds to ask. The rest of your questions starting now. Then we're gonna open the panel.
The only other question I have, because she said there is a sacred text in Ifa, and I'm just asking, what of the sacred text in Ifa would help establish a society based on the governing aspect of wages, civil interaction, and a justice system?
Okay, thank you. And Genesis, you have a minute to answer that, starting now.
All right, so in Ifa, the macrocosm affects the microcosm, like I said. So the actual breakdown of how the justice system is broken down is the same way of how the cities are broken down. And if you let me, I think I was sharing my screen, but it got taken down.
Oh, okay, I'll put it back up. Go ahead.
I can show this picture when I was actually.
You have 36 seconds.
Okay, so basically, the whole of the actual systems of the society mimicked the spiritual court. So even when you had your king would sit in the center of the town, the same way the government structure sits in the middle. You have your governments, you have everything. All okay in this format. So just like you have the governing body on the outside, then you have the town on the inside, and in the center is the king of the town. So you have the universe, you have the earth, you have the body, you have the spirit, then you have it all goes down microcosm.
Thank you. Okay. You have about 45 seconds left to ask another question if you'd like, Devian.
No, that's fine. That's all.
You want to relinquish? Okay, so thank you so much for that. I think that went well, very well, if I may say so myself. Now I have dropped the link for people if you'd like to come in and question the debaters. I mentioned that, by the way, if you come in and I don't know who you are, you definitely have to turn your camera on. If I know you're a regular, just let me see who you are in the back, so I'll know it's not someone posing as you, and then I'll let you hit the panel, and you're not required to turn on your camera. That's just how it is over here. I'm gonna wait a couple minutes. Let the debaters take a quick break. Actually, maybe you want to go get a drink of water, turn on your alarm. I don't know, but you can. I'll give you a couple minutes, y'all, to go do that while we wait for whoever's coming to the panel to hit the panel, because we do need to do their closing argument. If by the time they get back, I'll give you like 3 minutes, y'all.
So what's the last thing that's gonna be done next? I'm sorry, this is my
After. Okay, so I dropped the link. 1, 2, whoever people come in, they ask you both a question, and then they that's it. They leave. You answer the question, and then I think I'm just going to take 2 if they even come in at all. I'll take 2 different people from the audience. They will ask each of you a question, then they will exit, and then we will go into your final closing round, which it will be 5 minutes. And you just conclude, do a wrap up. This is what happened. This is what I think. This is why I think this is this way. Get it? So, but for now, I'm going to let you take a quick intermission while we see if people want to hit the panel. Please take about 2 minutes. Go get a drink of water, take a potty break, whatever. And I'm going to play some music waiting for the people to hit the panel. You get it? Or no?
Okay. All right, I got it.
All right. So please be back in 2 minutes. You can turn your cameras off until you get back.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Devian. All right. So please hit the link. Like I said, if you don't hit the link in the next 2 minutes, it's no problem. You know how it is. I'm sure they want to get on with their evening. This was a great debate. I loved it. But yeah, let's listen to, I want to hear KOT. What do y'all think, audience? Where is it at? Here it is.
If everything goes back to the mind, how is that practical for people today? If everything is just psychology, there's no medical, there's no economy. If everything goes back to the mind, how is it actually practical?
Because the mind is a force, right? Mind is also a spirit, so it's a force. You can apply it to different aspects.
Yo, peace. What's going on, y'all?
How'd you like the debate? Devian's back with Genesis. How'd you like the debate? Was it good?
Man, I got to tell you, man, it was a pretty good debate, man. I wasn't expecting much, considering the topic, but both debaters did pretty well. I have to be honest, but I'd most certainly have a question for the brother Ayan.
Both debaters. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so Cube, I don't know if you heard me say earlier. Definitely, I'm glad you hit the panel. I appreciate your participation. Can you ask a question to each debater, and then once they answer, just please don't go back and forth with them. Just exit, but you can ask each one of them a question. So
yeah, I was just about to ask him a question.
I'm just clarifying for everybody, not just you, because people who just got in here. Ask your questions, and then you can just get the answer and go. Go ahead, Cube.
Oh, okay, cool. Appreciate that. So, Devian, since the title was about practicality, and I really didn't see any practicality in what you were talking about. So my question is, what you were explaining throughout your presentation was everything in the Bible goes back to the mind. Everything goes back to the mind. It's psychology. So if everything goes back to the mind, how is that practical for people today? If everything is just psychology, there's no medical, there's no economy. If everything goes back to the mind, how is it actually practical?
Because the mind is a force, right? Mind is also a spirit, so it's a force. You can apply it to different aspects and areas throughout life, whether it be healing or diagnosis or herbs or whatever she was talking about. Applying your mind, which is using knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, is used as a force. How is the mind not practical if you can invent using your mind?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for not answering that. Yeah, thank you for not answering that. Sister Genesis, my question to you, when you were talking about Ephah and all of this, is the worship of ancestors, but then you also said your ancestors are you. So you're just worshiping yourself. So what good is that? How is that practical to just worship yourself? But what's the practicality in that?
Because when you worship yourself and you take care of yourself and you care about yourself and you love yourself, then you do the right things with your health. You eat right. You do all the right things. You live a life of good character because you are God with you. You are God in the flesh. So therefore, bottom line is that you understand that you are part of divinity. You are a part of like that. Like I said, the microcosm affects the macrocosm. So
that was a good answer. I appreciate that. Y'all have a good night. That was actually
thank you, Q. Great questions. All right, brother. Thank you. Moving on to Neil Spite. Again, I'm just going to reiterate, you get to ask the question to each debater and then no back and forth, please. Just let them answer, and just like Q did, you can exit. So I appreciate everybody who hit the panel. Neil, please go ahead and ask your question to your first debater.
Okay, and it'd probably be for both. So the word practical, I'm looking up at the dictionary, and it's of a concern with the actual doing or use of something rather than with theory and ideas. The mind is a theory and idea. So by default, my first question is going to be to Devian or Dayan. How could you even you're not standing on a definition of the word?
Okay, he must have had a tech problem. He dropped off. Go ahead and ask this sister that question, and we'll wait for him to come back, hopefully.
Okay, and that question would be to you, too. Would you agree or
Oh,
disagree?
I'm sorry, Neil. He's back, my brother. Sorry about that.
Okay, no worries.
Ask him again.
Okay,
please.
so I see him coming in, like his thing is circling.
Right,
Okay.
right.
You want me to wait till it stops circling?
No,
Or
go ahead and ask the sister. I'm sorry. Oh, well, here he is. Go ahead.
Okay. So, Devian, you heard my question?
They kicked me out.
Yeah,
No,
I'm sorry.
All right,
Hello?
so,
They say it again.
all right. Yeah, I said the word practical of a definition, by definition, of, or as I look it up here, it says of or concerned with the actual doing or use of something rather than with theory and idea. So the mind itself is an idea. So by default, would you say you didn't even have a righteous debate tonight because your whole premise was on a practical idea or something practical rather, not an idea or a theory. The mind is an idea and theory. A soul is an idea and theory.
Are you put it in the form of a question for the
That's
brother?
my question. That's my question. Do you feel as though you didn't understand the debate? That's my question.
Yes, I understood the debate, and plus, it was more practical for society, for our people. So, in building a society, you have to have ideas and concepts in order to govern the people, or how to run a government. Wait, so you said the mind isn't practical?
No, it's a theory and an idea. You can't tangibly grab or hold a soul or a mind. You have a brain.
Okay, so Devian, did you finish?
But he answered it. Or if he's finished, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because then you can move on to the sister because we have other people. But I appreciate everybody hitting the panel. Just wanted for time's sake. Devian, did you want to finish up? I think go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to finish. The brain is the physical organ. The mind is the function of it. There are lobes of the brain which carry the functions, which will be the mind, which is practical, which is problem solving, taking in information. Like what? The mind is practical. You can't invent unless you use ideas or thoughts.
Okay, thank you very much, Devian. Sister Genesis, can you answer that question, the same question?
So I would say that all that talk about the mind is great, but where is the account for a person that doesn't have the right mind or has a broken mind? In Odu Ifa, we talk about Obatala, how he got drunk and he made people with illnesses and with disabilities and schizophrenia and things like that. So we have account for people with mental illness and stuff like that, and we have Odus that explain how to deal with those type of issues. I don't really understand where the Torah is actually giving direction or guidance to people in that frame. So if you're saying the mind is everything, well, what happens when your mind is broken? What do you do then? And what does society do with you? How do you use the Torah to address that issue? And that's the question I have.
Thank you, Sister Genesis and Devian. Thank you, Neil, for that question. Great questions, everybody. So far, these are awesome questions. Moving on to the brother on, and then after that, we do JJ, and of course to Corey. All right, on, please ask your questions, and we can move on to the other panelists. You're muted, sir. You're muted on. You want to unmute, my friend.
Yeah, I can't get it to unmute.
I unmuted it. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So peace to everyone. Beautiful debate. I got a quick question to both debaters. Dayon, you first, if you may. Would you consider the medicine that we currently use across the world, modern medicine in general? Would you consider all forms of medicine and doctors currently a form of sorcery, or is it in its own a different category?
No, I would say it's definitely sorcery, which comes from pharmakia, which is Greek, which means witchcraft.
Okay, and thank you so much. And to Genesis, if you can remember the same exact question, is modern forms of medicine currently being used? Is that sorcery? And if you guys want to elaborate afterwards, you may.
I wouldn't say it's all sorcery. I would say that certain things, in the Odu Ifa, when we talk about Obatala, I think it was Eji Ogbe, where he talks about the white powder. Obatala talks about not actually ingesting any white powder except for Efun. Ifun is like the powder we use during our rituals and our different things like that to create purity. But using anything that's made of white powder, like pills and things that's breaking down, but the herbal aspect of that is what should be used, not the actual byproduct of reproduction and things like that. And that's actually in the Odu Ifa.
Oh, okay. So from your point of view, even modern medicine would be like a subtext or like a smaller version of what's considered medicine or sorcery in Ifa.
Yeah, basically. Well, I would say we don't really. I mean, we don't like identify things as sorcery or not. We just say what to use and what not to use. We don't say that's sorcery, but we do have a thing called witchcraft, but it's more a spiritual thing. When it comes down to the medical field, it's more like don't use this, don't use that. That's how it identifies with the medicine.
Oh, okay. Well, that's it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. That was my question.
Thank you. Good questions. All these are great questions. I appreciate everybody so far. On to on, you can see your way out, please, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it.
Yes. Moving on to Jeremiah Judah. Peace, JJ. You can do the same. You know how it works. Go ahead and ask your questions.
Okay, yeah, great debate, man. I want to congratulate both debaters. You did real good. I got to get an edge to Devian. You did real good, bro. That's when you brought up the 7 pillars. That's in Proverbs 9 and 6. A lot of people don't understand the angle that he came. The angle that he came is not the regular Hebrew Israelite way. Him and Judah been doing this for a long time. And like you say, psychological and stuff like that, the mind, very good, bro. He did very good. I looked up everything that you were saying, plus I got more. But one thing I can't say, she's a good debater. I give her that. You good, Queen. But I just like to say the Torah is older than Ephah. The written Torah is older than Ephah, 7th century. The Torah was written. Ephah was finally written down in the 14th century. So you would have to prove which oral tradition is older, and that's hard to do. But we got it written down before you guys. Also, trichozy is practiced by Ephah. I just want to just throw this out. Trichozy, that's the child slavery. Then you got killing of albinos. I got all the sources and references of the practices that they do. And 1860 was when y'all stopped doing sacrificing.
No, is this a question? I'm sorry.
JJ, you know how it is.
No, wait, jump to the question. You ain't debating.
I know she's gonna debate you later, JJ. Please,
okay? You can't just come in. You trying to be on the debate?
I'm trying to bring out some facts. I said,
come on, JJ. It's been going well, brother.
You're a battler now, but I'm just saying now, man.
Come on, JJ.
All right.
What's the question?
Here's my question to you, and I got one for Devian. Which spiritual system of Ephah do you follow? Do you follow the one with the African colonialism, African Cuban Ephah Santeria, which blends Yoruba traditions with Catholicism? So y'all got all kinds. I looked at those 18 different ones. You never told us which one you practice. I know where Devian came from. I know he's with Torah, but you never told us which one do you follow. That's what I'm asking you right now, because there's 18 different ones.
There's only one Ephah.
Nope. I got it right here.
No. You don't understand.
No, let's not go back and forth because we got to stay.
Let me say, there's only one Ephah. Ephah is what the Bible. Okay, so what the Bible allows. Okay, in all of those traditions, go practice one Ephah. Okay, listen, Olorisha practice Orisha. So Lukumi, Santeria, Candomblé, 21 divisions. What's the other one? All these different. Santeria. All right, so yes. When it really comes down to it, but Ephah, when I talk about Ephah is the literal corpus of all of the, when it comes to divination, Orumila. All right, the Babalaos that actually worship Orumila, that practice Ephah, they have a separate thing just called Ephah. So Voodoo people go to see Babalao, Santeria people go see a Babalao, Palo people go see a Babalao, South American people, whatever it is, they go see a Babalao, and that is a separate. Even though it's connected, it's its own. It's almost like the Levitical priesthood.
Okay, now JJ,
so you did a great job. I promise you. You're a great debater, and she's gonna be a force to reckon with. From time to come. You did good for you.
Yes, and JJ has an eye for debaters, so he knows what he's talking about.
She's good.
We need you to ask my brother. We need you to ask Devian his question, please.
Hey Devian, man. Hey bro, you went deep. You went in deep waters, man. You did good, man. A lot of people don't understand where you're going. Man, hey bro, I was proud of you. Now, and you know what? You didn't say right. You worked on that. So that's what they were looking for. Okay, hey man, you're getting better, man. But here's the thing. Here's my question to you. If they use in Ephah the African Cuban Ephah Santeria, and it blends Catholicism and indigenous influences into their teachings, would that be the same as the other 17 other Ephah practices?
I mean, I guess so, because I mean the original Ephah is where they came from. So with the Vodun and Santeria, all they did was just add additions to it. But so at the center of it, they still use the Odu text. They still use the Orishas, and they worship Oludumare and the 400 Orishas in the pantheon.
So why would they add Catholicism into their practice? I'm trying to figure that one
Well, I guess they wanted to be part Catholic.
No, because they were slaves and they were allowed to practice their religion.
I'm gonna remember we got to Corey waiting. JJ,
They weren't allowed to practice their religion, and so they had to cloak it under Catholicism in order to hide it from the
we're
slave
talking about
master and
somebody
their-
else. Okay. Thank you.
Congratulations to both of you, and for cool Jubal, JJ information came from outside. No, they got sources, references, peer review articles, and all that, sir. I don't know what you're talking about. Great debate. I look forward to seeing her debate again. I like equal build with the sisters because really Ephi and Torah has a lot of similarities. Maybe you two can come together and do the similarities. You see what I'm saying?
But maybe you could do that with her.
I actually have those similarities in my PowerPoint.
Yeah, you did, girl. You okay. You're forcing record. I can see you.
Let me say this, JJ, and then you obviously thank you for hitting the panel and adding to this great debate. I want to say, sister will be doing a presentation just like everybody else, and you can link up and find out if you guys can collaborate. So thank you so much.
Yeah, Nepal, let me ask you something. One more question, Nepal. Was there anything ignorant that I said when I asked these questions? Because this clown Ty Porter.
No. You're doing good. Don't even worry about that person.
Floor with you.
Don't.
You are a cat rat. I'm just letting you know. I see you. Hey, great debate, both of y'all. I love what both of y'all did.
You did great, JJ. Great questions. Great energy. All right.
You know, I'm out of here. With Ty
Porter,
thank you anytime, sir. And look out to me and Brian's debate on November 2nd.
Yeah, we're going to promote all of that. Thank you. We got to promote more. Thank you so much, JJ. We got to focus on promotion. Last but not least, I want to say thank you to all the panelists who came in. JJ, you know, he has this flair. Even JJ, he did great. These were great questions. These are 2 star debaters, in my opinion. Finally, to Corey, my brother, thank you for your patience. Ask your questions, and then we can hear these 2 debaters do their closeout.
Okay, well, I just want to say shout out to both of the debaters. Shout out to the sister. I didn't think that this was a sister that was getting ready to debate Devian, but both of them did. Yeah, it was a debate. So yeah, so check this out. We know that one of the most important things to do when dealing with a community is that we got to deal with the body, and the most important thing of dealing with the body, it starts off with the mind. You know, so. And one of those ways that we could deal with the mind is the foods that we eat. So I'm gonna ask both of y'all a question because this is very important. I'm gonna start off with Devian first. Devian, is there any scriptures? Yeah, is there any scriptures in the Torah that help us deal with, like any dietary laws in the Torah that help us deal with foods that is good to strengthen our mind and our body? And if it is, can you show me a text in a Torah?
Of course. Oh, I mean, you can go to Leviticus 1, 2, 3. All the animals that were sacrificed. Also, right? It wasn't just the conditions had to be unblemished, which means they couldn't have no ailments, or lame or whatever. Also, their hooves had to be set apart, which means they were able to distinguish. And rumination, which means to chew the cud, which rumination also means to be deep in thought. So that's why all the animals had to be, that they represented you. They had to be unblemished. But then also too, you can't eat no robins, no ravens, no pig. Even though pig's hooves are completely separate, they don't chew with a cud, which means they eat whatever. All the aspects are negative aspects of the mind of the spirit. Ravens or crows, they rob, and they're on the lookout all the time, and they rob. I mean, that's what it is. But there's plenty laws in the Torah where you can't eat forbidden animals. It's all throughout Leviticus. So just to give you one, give me 1 second. Bear with me 1 second. So Leviticus 11. Everything among the animals that has a split hoof, which is completely separated into double hooves, and that brings up the cud, that one you may eat. But this is what you shall not eat from among those that bring up their cud and that have split hooves. The camel, for it brings up his cud, but the hoof is not split, it is unclean. Hyrax, for it brings up his cud, but its hoof is not split, which means it doesn't discern. It is unclean to you. The hair, if I'm saying, like a rabbit, for it brings up his cud, but his hoof is not split. The pig, right, we're not to eat a torn apart carcass, and we are not able to eat things of the sea without fins and scales, because the scales are to protect the fish from parasites, and the fins is to help it move to and fro.
Okay, so it's confirmed that there's a dietary law and a health solution to deal with the mind and the body, to make us healthy. He pulled out a scripture, he pulled out a text, he pulled book, chapter, and verse and showed that. So now my question to you, Genesis, is can you show me a text in the ether of the dietary laws that can help us strengthen our minds and our bodies and to keep us healthy? What do we eat and what do we not eat according to the ether text, the ancient ether text?
Okay, so based on Ifa, you would go to a Babalawo and they would do a divination for you, and each individual person would get individual diet based on their destiny. So the way that it works is, but there are specific animals that you're forbidden to eat, like dogs, snakes, rats, cats. But basically there's specific animals for a specific diet for a specific person, and a person is not supposed to eat. It's not a blanketed belief system. It's individualized. Okay. There's also based on the Odu that gets cast that you'll be restricted to eat. So one Odu might tell you not to eat eggs, and that'll like last for a certain amount of time until your next reading. It might tell you not to eat any red meat. It might tell you not to eat any birds or any, so your diet is really at that time based on the divination at the time and what Odu comes out during that reading. If you have a life reading or a tefa, then you are forbidden to eat that particular animal for the rest of your life. So, and that is taboo, considered a taboo. So our dietary restrictions are based on Odu, based on individual. When you get initiated Itefa, which is like usually given to a child at birth, and their dietary restrictions are given in that ceremony. Yeah.
Yeah. What text can I find this in though?
Okay, you go to a Babalawo. It's called the Odu Ifa. You wouldn't read that in a book. You go to a Babalawo, and the Babalawo would tell you your individual, like I said, dietary restriction based on the Odu that comes out.
Okay, thank you for pointing all that out for us, Genesis, Devian, and Takori. Those are great questions. We definitely see where you're going with that. We appreciate you. So, brother, if you want, you can see your way out and let the debaters go ahead and do their closeout. So, Anetta, welcome to the debate. He's been watching the whole time. Welcome to the stage, King.
Yes, I definitely want to say something myself.
Of course.
I want to say both debaters did great. Both participants did great. In Genesis, don't get discouraged by any Israelite coming up saying you lost a debate, because Israelites got to say that.
Oh, they've been going off on me in this chat. I'm like,
we're not done with the debate yet. So remember, we're not done with the debate. We're not done with the debate.
Well, I'm not the moderator, so I could say what I want. So Genesis, don't get discouraged. Israelite got to say Israelite brother won. Because to say he lost is to say they lost. You see what I'm saying? It's to say they God didn't hold it. It's to say the Torah can't stand up. I'm going to say, without any biasness, you did win the debate based off of your question and answers, because you was asking questions that I feel Devian really could not answer. You was killing it on the question and answer period. And that right there, I would say gave you the win by far. And that's just my opinion.
No, we weren't. The debate isn't done though, and I appreciate you doing that. I wish
like JJ came in and said who won.
I know, but that was. No, I'm not mad at that. I'm just saying I want them to get on with the closing, and then we can definitely go in on who won and who didn't. If you want to moderate the last part.
Go ahead. I'm good. You good? No, I don't want to moderate at all.
All right, so just stay here though. No, don't leave the panel. Oh, he left. He's in the background. Okay, thank you, Sonetta. So anyway, we're going to go into our closing. You have 5 minutes, Genesis, to go ahead and close out. I'll start the time.
Wait, do I present my screen?
You can do whatever you want in your closing. Just let me know when you're ready to start your time. And in that case, we will not be able to, once it started, I can't pause it for you, but tell me when you're ready.
Hold on 1 second. Let me.
Definitely. Go ahead. Thank you so much for everybody. I like everybody's questions who came in. So Sonetta, definitely always wonderful for you to come in. You always boost anything that you come in on, but I just want them to get to this last part.
Yeah, we're almost done. I'm trying to.
I didn't. Okay, please don't summer jam. Who do I sound like, Sonetta? Please don't. Okay, so tell me when you're ready. I'll start your time.
Okay. So let me just trying to find the page. Dang, it's got a lot of pages in this thing. It's hard to find the thing on page.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have like a bunch of slides. Let me just say this.
Okay, here we go. I got it. All right.
Okay, thank you, Tony.
See all this? Did you see me scrolling? I'm sorry, my bad.
Yeah. So I'll start your time when you say. I just want to tell everybody who's participated once again. Thank you so much for supporting the debaters, the platform, and anybody can come in here and do this. Toughest environment, but it's great. Hit the like, share the video, share the debate. All right, when you're ready, I'll start your time.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, time starts now.
All right, so Ephah's global spiritual system has successfully adapted to various cultural changes. It has survived the transatlantic slave trade. It has been, I mean, our ancestors really did their best to try to keep this tradition, under wraps, and keep it in its original form. And I believe that it's disingenuous for people that are descendants of the slave trade, of the transatlantic slave trade, to discount the original religion that actually people practiced when they were brought over here. I think that we need to really look into our ancestors and look into our roots. I mean, we could, in fact, be Hebrew Israelites down the line. It could be that Ephah practitioners at one point were influenced by the Israelites and by Hebrew Israelites, but to discount nature-based tradition and call it witchcraft, when this is how society was structured and how these kingdoms, the Oyo kingdom, the Yoruba nations, were very mighty. The West Africa, everything did not only stop and end in North Africa, in Israel. There were very pronounced kingdoms in those West African places in West Africa, and we should be proud to understand that we have ancestors, we have people in societies that had a religion and a whole breakdown of an organized structure of society, and that those societies were very successful, especially the metallurgy and the alchemy that they used, the herbs that they used that are still existing and still being used. These things are still being used in our government. People still see babalaos. People see them. People still use babalaos. Christians use babalaos. Muslims use babalaos. I mean, come on now. You'll be surprised. A lot of your entertainers come to get divination. Ephah spans society, and it's used in society very, very well. But people don't want to admit that this is really like this is really actually the puppeteer that's been behind a lot of the success in a lot of people's lives, because they're able to, understand themselves from a holistic standpoint, but they don't want to let people know that they're utilizing babalaos and olorishas in their lives, because they don't want to be seen as practicing witchcraft, when this is our ancient ways. These are the ways of our ancestors. Ephah tradition, even though Ephah and Torah offer profound spiritual insights, Ephah's flexibility, personalized approach, holistic healing practices, and focus on individual destiny, the microcosm versus the macrocosm, how everything is connected. Those things are relevant to a practical society, how to practice it in society. When these hospitals don't exist and you can't afford a medicine or from a doctor, you know what you could do? You could go to an Ephah practitioner and learn how to do herbs and learn how to heal yourself, not just say the mind, because the Orisha, the Ori is the mind, and that is a central thing to Ephah, is the Ori. That's why the Orisha is the owner of the mind. So the Torah talks about the mind, so does Ephah. The central thing is what sits upon the top of your head. It is the Orisha, owner of one's consciousness. So Ephah is paramount and tantamount to the mind. But when you don't include physical health and understanding your society, and you lose out. You have a missing link, and that's the only thing I see here, is that maybe Ephah is the missing link to the Torah, because I don't see anything when it really appears, when it comes down to really diagnosing health. It's not a complete system, and that's just how I feel. And that's the end. Thank you so much for today's debate. Thank you.
Awesome. Great. Perfect time. And you had about 30 seconds left. Thank you. I'll take down your screen share and let the brother come in. When you're ready, Devian, let me know. And I will do whatever, if you want to screen share, or just let me know when to start your time.
Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen.
Awesome. Okay. Tell me when you're ready to start. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yes, it is. Okay. Ready when you are.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
Time starts.
So in closing, though, there is no missing link to the Torah. The Torah is perfect, restoring the soul, which means to make someone dead of the mind living, or give them, a renewed mind. But I mean, that's what the Torah is. Is a book of psychology, a book of the study of the mind and behaviors. In conclusion, I show that the Torah is a book of psychology that stimulates the mind to improve or strengthen its functions that dictate the lobe of the brain or its inner workings, as far as the parietal lobe, the frontal lobe. As I stated before, all these are the inner workings of the mind. So the mind is practical, because you can use the mind to invent, to build, to do mathematics, geometry. It all starts with the mind. The Torah shows the stages and ranks of decrees to establish a nation without the influence of other cultures, right? So, in and Ifa, their practices are similar to other religions around the world. The Torah is not religion. We don't practice Judaism. Like I said, the Torah is our heritage. It's a book of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to make one noble. Being placed in a trance-like state or under hypnosis, which is basically a trance, deteriorates the mind or spirit by the possession of spirits or demons, which is what they call the ancestors or nothing but familiar spirits, which is the Ewab and the Aniyam, which means also sorcery or conjuring of spirits, resulting to a state of inactivity and loss of consciousness while awake. And she was speaking on the waves of the waves and frequency. The mind has brain waves. You got alpha waves, theta waves, delta waves, gamma waves, beta waves. Like, come on, the theta waves are a low, it's like a low vibration with not much activity. So it's basically sleep while you're alive. That's what a trance is, a state of hypnosis, or through a medium, which is what they would call a babalao. In the Torah, there is no mediums. How is that better for our people? And no, he just represents himself in Israel. All he did was atone for Israel's sins. But he is elevated above his brother. He's not a medium. Because that's why we don't deal with ancestor worship. We don't deal with, no orishas, no none of that. We don't pray to angels. We don't do none of that. How is that better for our people? Again, she didn't want to touch on that human sacrifice. People around the world practice animism, which Ifa will be a part of the worship of nature. This results in us lacking our own cultural practices and building a nation. Ifa is witchcraft, divination, sorcery, which does not benefit our people at all. So, and she's talking about the religion that's practiced from West Africa through slavery that made it to the Caribbean and other whatever place where the Yoruba was taken as slaves. They have that's their practice. The Israelites, we didn't practice Ifa. We kept the Torah. If you go to the Dead Sea Scrolls, they were keeping the Torah. It said revert to the Torah of Moses, not Ifa. So with that, the Torah establishes it even established how to conduct yourself through civil interactions. As far as I brought out wages amongst the people of Israel, workers, you can't hold a worker's wage. You are supposed to help the poor, the destitute, the orphan, and the widow. We can't oppress a stranger, for we were strangers in the land of Egypt. Also, no immorality in the land, no prostitution, no promiscuity, no incest, no none of that. So, the Torah helps establish and maintain a working society. And with that, I relinquish my time. Yahweh Ka. It was a good debate, and thank you for hosting it, Nepal, and being a moderator. And thank you for the sister for taking the debate. You know what I'm saying? Even though you lost, but it's all good. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, with that, I just want to say, you know what I'm saying? Thank you, and shalom.
There is no losers, only understanding. People now know a little bit more about something they didn't know before. So
it's okay, sister. It's okay to get beaten the cheap seats every now and then. You know what I'm saying?
okay,
it's all right. It's all right. No, it was a good debate though.
Great job by both of y'all, man. That's all I'm gonna say. Great job by both of y'all. And Nepal should die, man. Excellent. The way you did this thing, Nepal. The only difference is, I ain't gonna even say that live. I'll wait. But I'm gonna ask Cube a question. I need to get the Cube. Is Cube running from JJ 7000? I remember we were supposed to set something up for Cube and Brother JJ. I don't know what happened with that. So maybe I'll give Cube a call and we're gonna try to see what we can do with this.
Yes,
Nepal, you there?
I'm here. Yeah, I was just letting you have your.
I'm going to tell you, great job, Queen. You did.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you. Always a pleasure. I love the HOK, and this is a great debate. These two did. I'm glad it happened. The forces of good prevailed, and we got these two in the ring, and we got to hear their positions. They worked hard in their debates. Thank you so much. I can't even tell the audience more. I just want to keep saying thank you so much. Great turnout, considering.
Alchemize your energy. Darling, let your spirit be free. Don't give up. Keep on pushing through. Now is the time. It's all up to you. Alchemize your energy, my friend. Let your spirit be free. Don't give up. Keep on pushing through. Now is the time. It's all up to you. storm, but over tragedy. No matter the storm, but over tragedy. No matter the storm, we will always take flight. Keep on pushing through the darkness of night. There's no limit, let's reach for the sky. Shine so bright, from darkness to light.